All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our midweek edition of Two Guys on the Mic. I'm one of your hosts, Big Sean.
And I'm your other host, RP. What's going on, everybody?
All right. I hope everybody is doing well on this crazy day that's going on today in America. But we're not going to get too political today. I just hope that everybody is safe. You know, all the officers involved. I'm not going to give too much of a shout out to the, protesters or rioters, whatever you want to call them. But any, law-abiding, law enforcement official that's out there, in harm's way, or anybody else in harm's way, be safe. But this is the Wednesday. Go ahead.
Wait, because I got to say something too. I got to say something as a veteran. And we don't do a lot of political stuff. So, but to be honest, this ain't political. This is American. This is some citizens. People think that this is about politics, and people are doing things based on politics. But this is really about being an American citizen. And if you're an American citizen, you've seen what was happening today. You should be appalled. You should be appalled. And if you're not, you need to check some things about yourself. We put our senators, our Congress folks, as well as the vice president in full apparent danger all over a farce. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Right. And we got to stop this crap. So I ain't going to go too.
Right. I'm all for expressing yourself in protest, no matter what your beliefs are. If you do it peacefully, that's your right to do so. But when you're laying siege to, federal property and putting our congressmen and senators in harm's way over some nonsense, elected officials, some of the officials which you fools elected,
right?
That's where we got to draw the line. So
there's got to be.
Anyway, go ahead and finish your statement, man. Then we can go ahead and.
No, there's got to be some level of order, some level of diplomacy, and some level of understanding about the democracy. My civics teacher said something a long time ago, and it still rings apparent today. There's a lot of people that know a whole lot of stuff about politics, but it ain't a lot of people that know anything about government. And it's apparent that these folks don't know anything about how the government is actually run, and they're upset about it. And this is how they're expressing themselves. So,
and I blame the public school system for all of this. But anyway, this
but
is our midweek edition.
To the police, to the National Guard. I hope that they get a rein on this thing. I hope everybody, and whatever violence was happening, I'm hoping and praying that that's it. I hope that's all, and that we can just move forward and try to heal and become, a country like we all claim that we are. So that's
exactly.
I say let's move forward. We have some pressing issues on the entertainment front, so we want to stick to that. That's what the show is about. So
this show is a welcome diversion from real life,
right?
As is sports in general. So we're going to keep it light for the rest of the show. This is our midweek show. It's a big week for Browns fans and Buckeyes fans. So the Browns are going to their first playoff game in 18 years against our hated rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we have Ohio State going up against Alabama.
And the championship, baby.
Right. So basically, Alabama is like the galactic empire of college football. They've pretty much been dominating for the last 10 years or so. So it's definitely big, and we got other issues going on. Where do you want to start first? You want to go ahead and start with the Browns?
I say let's stick with the tradition of going into Cleveland Browns football out of the start.
Okay.
We'll maintain that and then get into some Ohio State stuff, because I think a lot of our fervor and a lot of our energy is really in this Browns game. I mean, Ohio State's in the playoffs or in the national championship game lately within the last, say, 10 to 12 years. We've been there like 4 or 5 times. So,
right. And there's a bunch of crazy stuff going on with the Browns, which we'll touch on. So also, we have a special guest today. We'll have one of my best friends. We've been friends for so long that I don't remember us not being friends. And that's not me exaggerating. And that's how long we've been friends. Our families have been friends. My mom and his mom go back probably over 50 years. He's from Cleveland, but currently resides in Austin, Texas, I believe. And he is the most anti-Cleveland person from Cleveland that I know personally. And so this is going to be a very interesting conversation. One of the smartest people that I know. He's also one of the most ridiculous people that I know. So this would definitely.
Look, the crazy part is we can say that about a whole bunch of people we know, ain't it?
Right.
Like I could say that about you. You could probably say that about me.
Right.
At times, like we both just go back and forth with that kind of description.
But
I guess we just attract those types of folks, huh?
Exactly. But he's a diehard Cowboys fan, a University of Michigan alum. So, which meant this is about to be a very crazy dynamic that we're about to have here now.
Listen, I just want him to be fair. You got to be fair, man. You can't come in here with hate.
Yeah, he's fair most of the time, but just being as ridiculous as he is, I mean, I know he's gonna say a few off the wall things. So,
and just a small part of that background, I've actually met Corey when we were kids at Sean's house at sleepovers, and he was always. I always said that Sean was the grumpiest person I ever met until I met Corey. I felt like he's just the most. The grumpiest guy I'd ever. I was like, why is he so frustrated? We're 12. What's wrong with this dude?
Look, man, Corey has been a grown man. Corey's been a grown man since he was 5 years old.
That's basically. Part of. He's always been been halfway grown anyway. So he was always 60 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Is he in yet?
Yeah, I think he in.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, I will see. He's not popping up.
Well, you know what? I think he's on the back screen, but once he starts talking, it should pop to him.
All right.
But I just want, as Sean said, man, let's welcome Corey Hill to the show. Corey, what's happening, brother?
Hey, it's all good, man. I just want to say.
Oh no.
You are look.
I told you the shenanigans are starting already.
Look, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. I knew he wasn't gonna come in here, right?
Right.
I knew he wasn't gonna come in. I knew he was gonna come in here on some shenanigans. I knew it.
Well, if I wore civilian clothes, you'd be disappointed.
Oh man.
That's crazy. So
all right, Corey, well, welcome to our show, Corey. And also to let you guys know, Corey is my big brother. It's been like my big brother, since day one. Got much love for him and his whole family. So I can even consider his brothers and sisters my brothers and sisters too. So that's how far we go back and how tight we are. So let's go ahead and dig in. It's going to be a fun night. We have a lot to talk about. So RP, go ahead and get it started. And, about the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So let's get into this playoff game just a little bit. Come Sunday night, the Browns are going into Pittsburgh to play in Three River Stadium. I know it's not called Three River Stadium, but that's what the hell I'm calling it because I don't care for them or for their stupid stadium or their stupid fans.
That urine stain stadium, those yellow seats.
Haynes Stadium.
Right.
We're going in there on Sunday night and we're playing actually a pretty solid team. I mean, they everybody says defense wins championships. Well, this defense is actually pretty solid. They do a lot of things real well. They do a lot of things kind of versus what we do well offensively. They offset us in a lot of different ways, and let's break some of those things down. So the Steelers defense blitzes like 2 out of every 3 plays.
Yeah, it seems like it.
They just bring blitz after blitz after blitz. Now the crazy part is these dudes don't always bring the exact same look. They don't always bring the exact same two people. sometimes they bring those same two people and two more people. Like, it's crazy to think the exotic ways that these guys play and that nobody can really figure them out. And I don't care who they have at defensive coordinator, they always seem to still be there when it comes to good defenses and good blitzes and hard hitting.
Right.
These
Their
guys
philosophy has
are always
always
there in
been
that
to
defense.
put pressure on the offense and to confuse the offense. And that's what I was saying last week, is that whatever scheme that they run, Baker Mayfield seems to be just like a little bit confused, a little bit hesitant. And not just him when he's been quarterback, just anytime we play the Steelers, like, it's just whatever type of scheme that they're running, we always have a hard time figuring it out.
Then that ends up leading to a lot of the sacks because now he's holding on to the ball a little bit.
Right.
Which we don't want him to do. We want him to get rid of the ball as soon as possible. I mean, in a good way, not just, ejecting the ball all over the damn field.
Right.
But when you're confused, when you've seen this exact same setup, you've seen this linebacker in the hole. So you thinking to yourself, oh yeah, I just saw this like 2 plays ago. They're going to blitz, this guy and this guy, because that's exactly what this play looks like. And then you see this guy pull and this guy come into that hole. It throws you off because you've already picked out in your head, especially a guy like Baker. Baker does like to pick his receivers before he, gets the ball. We know that he does. So if you thought you were going to go to this guy because this guy's getting ready to blitz me, and that guy drops into coverage, guess what? Now he's got to stand there and try to pat that ball and think about who he's going to throw to next.
Right.
It tends to be a problem, and we've seen it in those Steelers games. I don't think Baker has beaten the Steelers yet.
Yes, he did. He beat them last year on Thursday night. Remember?
Ah, right. I forgot.
So he beat them last year on Thursday night. Then we lost that game, the last game of the season, to Duck Dodgers, whatever his name is, Duck Hodges.
That's right. I forgot about. Yeah, but they wasn't playing over. I mean, listen, he beat Mason Rudolph twice. I mean, he ain't beat the Steelers. Yet. Right. Not the Steelers. And he's gonna see the Steelers on Sunday night. He's gonna see the Steelers. They're not gonna, all the stuff that didn't happen last week, and it's a lot of stuff that did. And we talked about some of that stuff on Sunday. These guys are coming after him on Sunday.
So what you were asking, saying, has he beaten Ben Roethlisberger, basically?
Yeah, no. Yeah. Have you beaten a Steelers?
He's only going up against Ben once.
Just once. And then he played against, like you said, he played against Mason and Duck last year. And then I think I was at the game when he played against Ben in Pittsburgh a couple years ago. And it was a good game until the third and fourth quarter, or started the fourth quarter rather. And, they picked it up a little bit and it became a kind of an uglier game than what it actually was in the prior 2.5 quarters. But Baker is definitely in a different spot than he was then. The team
here is in a different spot.
Yeah, everything is different now. However, the relationship between these two teams really isn't different. We're still in a little brother role. We're still kind of behind the 8 ball, having to climb over these guys to even be considered. I'll put it like this. If we win, ain't nobody going to say, man, the Browns have arrived. They've done it. They beat, they're going to say, I don't know what happened to the Steelers and the Browns got lucky. That's basically going to be the sentiment.
No, it just depends on how the game, plays out. If it's a close game, I think they will say they got lucky. But let's say the Browns win by double digits. They're not going to say that. But,
okay.
Yeah. And plus, too, and you have the dynamic with us being hit by COVID hard with no coach. So, and Vegas already dropped the line by 2 points. Now it's up to 6, I believe 6.5. So now everybody doesn't think we even have a shot to even win the game. So I think if we win, they might say we overcame the odds. Now, yeah, they may say Big Ben is washed up or whatnot, or some stuff like that. But I think we may get credit because I actually think, deep down, a lot of people are rooting for us to win this game, especially,
It is.
you get here, finally get here, then you have all this stuff happen, all this chaos going on, within the organization. So, karma is kind of I don't want to even call it karma, just like this, football guys don't have no type of mercy
No,
on nothing
football guys
at all.
completely, totally hate. I don't know. Was it you I was talking to? I said I think that the football guys were actually born in Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah,
And
right, exactly.
And I mean, they don't have any regard for the Browns or for the fans here or nothing, man. They just come at us. And I'm
And
like,
just, and just,
not saying that we should, be given some easy ass pass. I'm not saying that either. I think though that, we felt like, man, can we at least have a week where we can just
there's no
enjoy
drama. No, you know
the
what I'm saying?
situation? Like we're
Right.
just preparing for the game. We might have issues with the coach, or we might have issues with his play calling, or we might have issues with what the defense does. But man, we just made the playoffs. Let's have a week where we're like, okay, we just preparing for the game, and we just gonna have to twiddle our thumbs until Sunday night.
Right.
I
That
would have
may
been
be
fine with that.
reflection. I think some of the issues in the locker room also, COVID worldwide is just behavioral first and foremost. People have to decide to do certain things or decide not to. So some of that's just maturity and just being smart or less stupid.
But you know what, though, Corey? Now I'm not gonna disagree with you because I think that when you're a team that is not used to, and a coach that's not used to being in this position, and they're not, it is a maturity thing. So you have to be kind of focused on what's coming up next, because if something happens to, I mean, hell, they just got a ticket or whatever, and yeah, they can get in trouble legally on the back end. But the truth is, you in the damn drag race, and on Tuesday it was raining and snowing. So you on a weird ass street, drag racing down the street, and y'all could have been ejected and killed. It's a lot of issues that could have happened. But to be honest with you, that was more on my back end. I wasn't as concerned about the drag racing because nobody got hurt or whatever. I was more concerned with the stuff that's going on inside the facility. Like, I almost don't want any other players in the facility at this point.
Right.
Because it's clear that things are happening on the COVID tip. Things are happening in that facility that they can't locate it.
The NFL claims it's not. The NFL claims it's coming from outside the facility.
But bro,
But
it's
I don't know
no
if
way.
that's what's that?
It's almost no way that it's not coming from in there at this point.
Yeah, that's what I think.
40% of the
I
people.
wonder if the
in there
NFL
by
is saying that just to cover their tracks, in a sense. But because they claim that when they did all the testing, there's 3 different strains that's going around the team, which is crazy. But and also let's give some background to our 2 fans outside of Cleveland that may not know what's going on. Our coach Kevin Stefanski came down with COVID, so we don't have a head coach going into this playoff game this Sunday. And it just on top of everything else, we had assistant coaches, tight ends coach, I think a defensive back coach, plus 2 more key players that are down now. Today we got a bit of good news where when they did the contact tracing, they didn't come in contact. I don't know how they didn't, but according to the NFL, we were clear, so we don't have to put anybody in the contact tracing protocol. But we've been here before when we had a day when everything was clear, and then the following day, we have 75 guys come down with COVID. Now, we don't even have 75 guys on the team, but somehow we forgot to have all these guys. So I'm still nervous. I'm still anxious that tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up to some crazy news and talking about we're going to have to basically run a 7-on-7 coming on Sunday because we don't have enough guys to field a full,
it's just
a full team.
And it's just Wednesday night. Like, it's not like it's not like it's Saturday night where you're like, okay, man, we just got to make it one more day.
Right.
We're literally halfway there. And we've already lost our starting guard. We've already lost, one of our guys that we depend on the wide receiver side. So, and we still aren't 100% sure. I know we got BJ Goodson back a little bit ago. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
seen that or know that, but BJ is back. That's good, but we also know we've seen when Miles came back, he wasn't 100% when he got
Right.
back. So I don't know what I'm expecting out of BJ, but we also have Denzel that could be back for the Sunday night game, but we don't know. And
Yes, a lot of
it's
unknowns. We might get.
it's
I
all
think
of those
Sendejo is
things.
back too, and I
It's
never
all of those.
thought that I would be happy to see Sendejo back. But the way those doggone safeties played last Sunday, man, they made they made Sendejo look like
Look,
Ed Reed
look, what
based on how they played. Right.
Except for Ronnie. Ronnie played decent, but he was kind of all over the place too. You know,
because he was playing three positions back there.
yeah,
He was
he was
playing
kind of
left
all over.
corner, strong, and free safety because nobody else was doing a damn job back there.
Well, you got one guy that's out of position trying to cover for someone else. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, always.
absolutely. You know,
I think
you gotta
the
have
coaches are gonna be fine.
folks.
I would look.
What'd you say?
I think the coaches being out is a concern. They're not Detroit. The Browns have way too much talent. They can compensate for some of the coaches who may not be available. But I think
Here's
they
a
have to stick to
here's a
the game plan. It's week 17.
Yeah.
Or in this case,
yeah.
week 8. So
Right.
you do have an idea of what you do well, what you do well, what you don't do well. And so you're not starting from scratch.
And that moves into
Well,
our next kind
hold
of
on,
topic
hold on a
is
second, because I do
yeah.
have a question for Corey based on what he just said. Because
Sure.
I pretty much agree with what he was saying with this angle. But do you think seriously though that the Browns have? I mean, you say we're not Detroit. I mean, we say that all the time here in Cleveland. But on the strength, do you think that what we have at safety is enough that we can work around? Because I mean, I haven't seen it this year. So do you think that we have enough at safety to
I
work
think
around?
they have enough at safety, but the front seven is going to have to play lights out.
Okay. To keep it
Front
from
seven,
being a safety issue. Okay.
right?
Yeah, and then on top of that, we lost Olivier Vernon,
Right.
who actually, we talked bad about him all last year and for the first half of this
Yes,
season.
we did. Yes, we
And
did.
now he's been playing like a Pro Bowler since week 8. Dude has been balling. And now we lose him. So we already been having issues with the pass rush. Now we got to fill in again.
And we also don't send a lot of blitzes. So we're
No.
basically relying on the talents of Myles Garrett, which is immense, but he hasn't really been the same dude since the COVID, since he went out with COVID. And Olivier really stepped up, but now Olivier's not there. So now we're stuck with second and third string guys again.
Yeah, they'll probably put Adrian Claiborne over there, and Adrian Claiborne has been adequate, but now who's going to back up him? So, it just causing more and more issues. We're losing players.
You can't keep
every week. We seem like we're losing key players. The defense already sucks as it is.
They just gonna keep doubling Miles, and somebody else gotta break through. Somebody else is gonna have to break through.
Go ahead, Corey.
You guys mentioned Olivier Vernon, who basically to back half of the season done nothing. And so I don't like to say this about guys, but this is last year of his contract.
And that's probably why he's playing hard.
And he's 30 years old. He couldn't, I don't know, but he's in his last year's contract and he's 30 years old. So he's running out of time as a. So
hey, Corey, you're breaking up on us a little bit.
No. Okay, what I said was, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better. I can hear you
go ahead.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is that Olivier Vernon is 30 years old. He's in the last year of his contract. And so he doesn't have a lot of time left. His big money deals are probably behind him. We're talking about this guy's probably thinking, I may be on a 1-year deal next year, but he's playing for a job. And so you got to look at motivations for this time of year. Who really wants it? And who's like, oh, I'll get him next year. And you got to identify those guys because That's going to be the difference between playing to your potential on Sunday and then the game is getting away from you.
Hey, Corey, do us a
And
favor.
that is Baker Mayfield.
Hey, Corey,
he
do
has
us a favor and jump out and jump back in because everything is
okay.
breaking up pretty bad. All right, he should be jumping back in soon. Had a few technical difficulties, but basically what he was saying is, with Olivier Vernon is in the last year of his contract. So with him rupturing his Achilles, he may not have an opportunity to come back. Especially with his age, he may not even have an opportunity to come back and play football.
Nobody's bringing him back for more than a year or two on a contract.
Yeah, probably it's a year, like on a year trial basis. I definitely don't expect the Browns to bring him back at all. But it's still a big loss because he was playing well. Impacting the pass rush quite a bit. So now we have to find somebody to step up, next man up. Now, as far as Stefanski and not having our coach, Ron has some interesting things to say off air about how this possibly may be a blessing in disguise. So go ahead and give us your take on Stefanski not being there to call plays.
So here's my one of my angles. I've started this year as a fan of Kevin Stefanski. I think everybody knows that, and I'm not a fan of his anymore. I've just had questions about how he's called certain games. Corey's coming back in. Let me squeeze him back in. But I've been a fan of Kevin Stefanski. I think on the front end, he's been very good for the locker room. I think he's been good for the facility as well, in terms of organizing things and keeping guys informed, and the team seems to like him and all of that. But I do have questions about his play calling. So as the season is going on, the Browns are one of the best run offenses in football. Number one. That's clear. Everybody knows it. Everybody in the league knows it. They've had a hard time stopping Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's averaging about almost 5.8 yards a carry. Okay, that's pretty impressive for any running back in the league. That also helps what we do. The second thing that we do well, which is our play action, and we do that a lot as well. Now the Steelers do pretty good against the play action. What they don't do well against is the run. So we need to play action to set up. We need to run to set up our play action. They don't do well against the run. Kevin Stefanski seems to have this issue with just sticking with the run. He wants to pass. He wants to be creative. He wants to, I hate to say this because I didn't think this before, but I think that he just wants to be the smartest guy in the room. Him and his analytics. So him not being there this week, I believe AVP will be calling the plays, Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah, Alex Van Pelt. Like Mike Priest, the special teams coach, will be acting head coach.
Right. There'll be another guy acting as head coach, but I think Alex Van Pelt will have.
He'll be calling them plays. And that's as of today. We don't know what kind of buffoonery you're gonna wake up to in the morning. So as of right now, that is the situation with our coaching staff.
I mean, I just think that I've heard from I have a couple of friends that are Steelers fans. They were more than pleased that Kevin Stefanski decided not to let Nick Chubb run last week. They also told me going into this game that they're hoping the same exact theory that he's concerned about another playoff game potentially will be on his mind so that he doesn't run. I'm serious. Listen.
No, I know what you're saying.
And I got a hard time from people because I said what I said about Kevin Stefanski. But I have Steeler fans saying, yes, please, let him I implore him, continue not to run Nick Chubb at us. We can't stop him. We haven't proved that we can stop
Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt on Sunday like they've been previously. They're not. The Steelers are going to sell out for the run. So
They probably will, but most teams do. But you still got to establish it. Now, here's my thing about not having a head coach, because with the unknown is we don't know how Mike Prefer can manage the game as far as clock management, things like that. Now, Stefanski has done an excellent job this year with clock management, the pace of the game, getting the plays in on time, and things like that. So now when you have a new guy calling the plays, you got a different cadence, a different voice. That may throw some things off going in the Sunday. Not saying it will, but it could be. That's why I always say it's good to have your head. It's never a good thing not to have your head coach on the field.
Even when you don't, yeah.
About not the pace of calls is a different voice, but they had the same philosophy. And Alex Van Pelt was a quarterback as a player,
right?
And quarterbacks throw the ball, and
right. But you would hope they have. You would hope they're on the same page. I'm sure they are, but like I said, when you have a different, voice, different, different personality, stuff like that, you can have a few things that change. Now, here's one thing too, and Ron is about to get mad at me when I say this, because he hates when I start doing overanalyzing stuff like this.
You gonna
now, Stefanski, huh?
He's still gonna do it.
Yeah, because he don't care. You know, he don't damn care. Go ahead, man. Go ahead with this dumb shit.
Now, when Stefanski was in Minnesota, he had Dalvin Cook, right? He ran Dalvin Cook to death. Yep. Dalvin Cook had a lot of injuries, always pulling hamstrings, something. Do you think that might have a part to play in how he was using Nick Chubb down the stretch? Like, I know because he does have Kareem Hunt. Like, well, I got Hunt to take some of the load off, so I'm not killing Chubb the way I did Dalvin Cook.
Listen, man.
With injury.
Listen. It's parts of me that totally understand his precaution. Okay? You don't want to have your guy all beat up and now he's not as effective in in the playoff game. But for week 17, we came into week 17 not in the playoffs. So you worried about the wrong stuff, bro. You worried about get to the playoffs and then worry about this dude.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just wondering. I'm throwing that out there.
I know. See, because you gave me the preface, it allowed me to kind of tuck my. Because had you just came out and said that, I would have been pissed. But you gave me the preface. So I had an opportunity to kind of stand back and give it a full thought. So that, for real, at the end of the day, and I did hear that Stefanski was questioned about why he didn't go in the post game, why he didn't go to Hunt. To Chubb so much, and that's basically what he said. And I was infuriated because you worried about a week. You worried about a week that you might not get to. We was only 2 points away from losing that game, or 3 points away from losing that game. You can't be worried about that. You got to win this game. And had we put the ball in Chubb's hand more, it gives us the best opportunity to win. I can't say, oh, we would have scored, 10 more times or anything like that.
Or at least when you bring Kareem Hunt in, it seems like the runs that they're calling for him are not best suited for him.
Yeah, they're not the same.
They need to get him to the outside.
At least
give him that space.
They were better earlier in the season. Am I correct? You think they? I
think so too.
I don't know what they've been calling for him here lately, but I also don't understand why they don't have them both on the field at the same time on a couple of plays. Not on a regular basis,
especially on third down. You have them got there on third down. You don't know if they're going to run or pass.
If you had access to some advanced analytics and their 2 play sets, there's something. The numbers probably tell them not to do it.
Bro,
you're probably right.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I can't disagree with that because this is an analytical front office. This is an analytical coaching staff. So I'm not disagreeing with that, but I do have issues with the stupid analytics at times
Well,
because
let me
sometimes
let me just let me just clarify too. When I say analytics, not just numbers, but just watching actual plays and outcomes going left to right, for example, 5 yards or 10-yard passes. They have some number. There's something that's telling them to avoid doing it because then now you're increasing the level of predictability. For example, this is a little bit unrelated. You ever see a receiver come into the game that maybe played quarterback in college, right? Or
Yeah.
he was a high school quarterback. What if he comes in the game, he doesn't have on gloves? Small things make the difference. If a receiver comes in the game and he doesn't have on gloves, I'm thinking he's throwing the ball.
I never even thought about that.
I mean, but
I mean,
there's certain things
Okay.
that tip you off. Okay, um, I was watching the game this year. I forgot who it was, right? And you just hear them calling, Omaha, Omaha, and like certain teams, for example, when you first step the ball, they always say 180,
Right.
or if the play is going to the left, right? Correct. So let's say it's a run, it's going to the left. They'll say something like, for example, New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans. Well, if you look on the map, New Orleans is on the bottom. If you're going east to west, is going to your left, right? Correct.
Okay.
But if you call a cadence and say uh, Chicago, Chicago, is going to the right. So you got to listen to cadences. There's small things that you can gain an advantage. And so I'm thinking they must have looked at, okay, in our two back sets, okay, how we lined up, and they look and they're tip. They don't want to tip off a play.
so,
And
but I mean, but again, I can't disagree with any of that. I can't because we've all played some level of a sport where you do see it. Sometimes you just see it and you're like, oh snap, they did this last time, or the last time they called this. As soon as they said, like, kind of going off what you said, the last time the snap came right after he said 180. Like, you do pick up on certain things when you're
right, there's
out there. So
tendency, but
I
also
can't.
let's say the starting right cornerback goes out, and they bring in the backup. Oh, you know where the ball going. You
Yeah,
know what the primary read is, right?
yeah, they going up top.
So because football, like most sports, is a game of mismatches, right? Strength versus
Right.
strength. You really want to identify mismatches. You want to wear them out. But at the end of the day, football is simple. Can you beat that man on the other side?
Bro,
Right. And that's what we've been
Sean,
saying. The simple
Sean said
thing
that.
is to give Chubb the doggone football.
Sean, I was
You
getting
know.
ready to say, Sean
They
just
can't
said that.
do
I
it
think
because
Sean
it's
texted me
too.
that on Sunday. I think we were talking about something that was happening within the game, and Sean texted me, football is simple. It's not, it's
Yeah,
not so difficult that you gotta make it into this scientific theory. It's not that. Yeah, there's some people who do really good at all of that stuff, and there are some plays and some parts of it that are that you do have to give some thought to. But man, I'm still old school, and I still think that if you look at the field
Right.
and it's 3rd and 1, you just run the damn ball, especially
And,
when you got a
and
guy
the
averaging
thing,
well,
right? The
five and
thing that I
six
was
yards a
referring
carry.
to. Remember, I
actually,
kept saying you got Mason Rudolph in the game, so you got to put pressure on him to force him to make mistakes.
You
And
said
as
that for
soon
the
as the
last three
Browns brought
weeks,
the
bro. You
blitz,
said that for the last 3 weeks, and you've been
right?
spot
And as soon as we brought a blitz, he threw an interception. That's when I said, man. And then you texted me and was like, man, that's the pressure you've been talking about. Now I was like,
but
the game of football ain't hard. It's simple. You
listen,
pressure an inexperienced backup quarterback. You don't let him sit back there in the pocket and
on.
bake cookies, and pick you apart, which is pretty much what he did.
well, you
That fool
can't.
had 300. There's no way in the world that Mason Rudolph should have had 315 yards passing.
Well, you do bring up a point that you can't just let a guy just sit back there and get comfortable.
No,
And football is a simple game, right? But remember, head coaches especially are risk averse. Most of them are. You can count on.
They are.
I
You're
mean,
right.
there's probably 5 coaches in the NFL who aren't that way. You can say Belichick, Pete Carroll, Doug Peterson. It may be somebody else I just can't think of. But most coaches, because they're trying to keep their job. They don't have the
Right.
stature to 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 call the game the way that we see it at home. Ron, you just mentioned about 3rd and 1. You should run. The historic 3rd and 1 is a running down historically, but if you know you're going to go for it on 4th down, most of your playbook still should be open in 3rd and 1, assuming it's not goal line.
Right.
So
Absolutely right.
I think coaches, the really great coaches understand the momentum of the game, the pulse of their team, right? And so if you're thinking they have to coach the game in segments, right? Okay. And I think these coaches, they not only the risk averse, but some coaches are afraid of being second guessed because um, people are coaching for their jobs.
Yeah, questions their authority when they get
Now,
second.
see, now I tell you what. Now, a guy like Kevin Stefanski, at this point, I guess it's hard. Excuse me, if you come into the Browns organization, it's very hard for you to be a coach and think that I ain't coaching for my job every 2 seconds.
Right.
let's just be honest. You know, that's a tough situation to be in. You know, but the great thing that Kevin Stefanski has done, he's understood a bunch of stuff, not always on the field, because being a coach ain't always about being on the field. Being a coach and being trusted and being somebody that these guys fully buy into, it tends to happen during the week. It don't always happen on Sunday.
Right.
So
You're
even
right.
the
The coach,
questions,
you're right. The coach, he got to be the brother. He got to
yeah,
be the father, the
yeah,
uncle,
he
the
has to, you know,
the
when you
preacher,
pop in at
the
when you
financial
pop
plan.
in at 7 in the morning and you see the coach car there, that changes how you going in the door. He already here too. Oh, all right. So he must be up to something, or he must be looking, or he must feel like next week's game is an important game or whatever. Like it all matters. It does. It all matters, man.
Well, you also, players tend to have more contact with their position coach more so than the head coach
They do.
Yes.
outside of the quarterback, because the quarterback and head coach tend to be linked. But the linebacker, even if he's a team captain, he's going to be more connected to the defensive coordinator, the linebacker coach.
Right.
But the
Yeah,
head
we've
coach
seen that in the
has
past too. Like Chicago. All those guys on the defense, when they won that Super Bowl in '85, they carried off Buddy Ryan.
Buddy
They ain't
Ryan.
carried Mike Dicker. So I agree with that. I know.
But
I get
also
that.
too, the head coach has to be a good manager. Knows when to delegate, knows when to reverse the delegation. They have to know when to trust, when to listen, also know when to shut up.
They're basically the general manager of the field and what goes on in the building. And I say that from a standpoint of a general manager. Like you gotta appoint your guys as who's your managers of this area, who's going to run those areas, and when the players see you as who's the coach, when they see you, you almost have to be echoing what that position coach just said, or the deference needs to go to that position coach, because that makes it look like and feel like everything is in sync. It's a process. It really is. It's a hard process too, because you're dealing with a lot of different people with a lot of different attitudes and a lot of different situations. And it can play against you if you do it the wrong way. And damn sure it can play against you if it's some level of backbiting coming, in between what's being said. If a guy loves their position coach and they feel like you're not respecting the position, it can all play bad. It can all play bad.
Yeah, right. One thing I did want to say before you get off the Browns is the sort of elephant in the room. And it's not that I'm not a Browns fan. That's not it. The elephant in the room is, do you think this team would be in the playoffs and playing at the level that it's playing had Odell Beckham been on an active roster?
Yes, indeed. Because I just think that the reason why the Browns were struggling early in the season was not because of OBJ. It was one, because Baker Mayfield is running a new offense with no off season. two, Baker was trying to please OBJ a little bit too much. Not from OBJ chirping in his ear, but just the pressure of a young quarterback trying to make his two diva receivers happy and forcing the ball a little bit. But you're always better when you have an athlete like OBJ on the field. This whole sentiment in Cleveland, we're always dumb like this. We'll have good players and for some reason want to run them out of town and rather have, Josh Cribbs. No shade to Josh Cribbs, but we
I know exactly what you mean too.
We love our mediocre players here in Cleveland. We love mediocre players here.
Well, because Josh Cribbs was, he was an overachiever.
He was, and a great Cleveland Brown. Like, I don't want to throw any shade at Josh Cribbs at all, but I think eventually, over the course of the season, I think OBJ would have fit right in with what's going on now with the offense now.
You know what I was actually thinking? I'm gonna tell you what I was actually thinking. So, and first of all, that's a great question, Corey.
Well, thank you, sir.
But I truly believe that had OBJ been healthy, we might have been even better than what we showed up. Like, that's a game. Like, if he played against the Jets and maybe he wasn't in the that protocol that ended up happening, we would have won that game, and that would have been it.
Like, we wouldn't have had to do this.
I don't believe
we don't have anybody.
That Jets game was. I believe that was just poor. That was poor coaching. That game was lost.
It was poor coaching. I agree with that. That was poor coaching.
I think
I almost 1,000% put that on the coach.
Yeah, I think that game was lost on Wednesday. Not
well,
Sunday.
no, I think it got lost on Saturday night when we lost all our receivers and didn't know how to adjust to it.
Well,
and also they looked at the schedule.
But listen,
just for one win. Oh, we got this.
You have to. I see. I can't disagree with that either. But you got to go into that game, even on Saturday night, and say to yourself, okay, I know what we practiced for. But we also have practiced screen passes. We've also practiced running the damn ball. So just run the damn ball. Y'all know these plays. So it's not like you got to come up with an entirely new plan. You just got to do the simple stuff. But again, that's where, and what the analytics that Corey might have been talking about aren't quite the analytics that these guys are going by. That's where the analytics come into the game, and it's 3rd and 6, and this is what 3rd and 6 tells us to do. Man, listen, I wouldn't give two shits. Run that damn ball, because we need to run the ball against this team.
Yeah, at some point you got to coach.
Go to a screen. Can't run. Go to a screen because they just run blitzing. So go to a screen. Like,
well, you got to have.
You got to have some instinct too. I know. Listen, I love being an intelligent dude. But then there's sometimes when I'm like, okay, I don't have to think about this. I just need to punch this dude in the face. Like, that's just how it plays out sometimes. You can't always try to outthink every situation. Some stuff just is what it is. And that's why I think they lost that game, because it's
like this. But like, to me, the Browns' relationship with analytics is similar to. Did you watch The Wire, Peanut?
Yeah.
It's similar to the dynamic between Avon and Stringer Bell. When Stringer Bell wanted to move more towards, let's move towards more a business side. Yeah, we still gonna have our dope, but we can get so far away removed from it that we don't have to put our hands on it. We can wash the money and we can go ahead and just live cool. And Avon was like, man, I'm just a gangster. I don't know about all that business type stuff.
Did you see me? So that you said Avon when you said
right.
Avon was
and like, basically what it came down to, they were really both right.
They were.
They were both right. Like, because they were trying, like, for example, when Marlowe came onto the scene, they were trying, like, Stringer was trying to finesse Marlowe, and Marlowe wasn't having it. Marlowe was like, I'm just street. I'm not, he wasn't having it.
And you just have to be able to allow cats to be, first of all, you got to understand what people are and who they are. And sometimes even in big businesses, definitely on the football field and basketball, other sports and stuff like that, you also have to be able to incorporate what these people do from a Marlowe standpoint. how can I get this guy to do what I want to do from a quote unquote analytics spot? Because this dude is just instinctive gangster. He's a
Right.
street guy. How
That's
do
all
I
he
get
knows.
him to move this way and that way, and we do both? Like I feel like there should be or could be a good sway with the Browns in both angles. You can have some analytics and still be
Yeah.
successful.
So
But I
so
also
with the
think you
Browns,
gotta have some again, you know, me and my Butch Davis
Kelly,
you
my
know,
gut, they go
my
with
gut,
Kelly.
sometimes my gut you gotta be able to use your gut and your instincts as much as you use your intelligence.
Exactly.
And you can still be successful both ways. Now, I agree with Tamika from last week. I agree with her son from last week. Maybe a lot of what our issues, or my issues for sure, with Kevin Stefanski can be because he's green as hell. He's still never been a head coach before. So maybe
Right.
he's learning it. Maybe come next year or 2 years from now, once he becomes a part of a system, and like like Corey said, he becomes a part of those group of coaches that aren't worried or looking over their shoulders.
Right.
He starts to settle down. He starts to call a play, or starts to call a game in a certain kind of way that you start to think to yourself, yeah, that dude ain't worried about his job. And now you can start to see things play out a certain kind of way. And
And
I
also,
do agree that
you know, the
stability
Browns,
is important.
yeah, stability is important. I think that we have to remember the Browns are going to look at this team at the end of the season, whatever happens, and they're going to have to make some changes. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, for the record, I do like Odell Beckham. I think he's a great talent. I think that the Browns they're in a unique position because Odell has a contract that the Browns can trade him based on what they want to do. They can't really be forced into moving him. I think they need to look at trading him for a premium defensive player if you can get one.
Now, I don't think we should trade him. And here's why. Because you have to account for him on the field. We don't have a guy on the field right now that can take the top off the defense. And I think having him on the field will open up the way that they're clicking now on offense. If Odell was out there right now, oh man, stuff would be wide open just
Well,
to
we're
have
going
him.
to say that. I just think that number one, they play in Cleveland, and so you're going to have some cold weather games. So the taking the top off, that's not going to happen
Yes,
in
it
the
does. You still need a guy that can
No,
do it.
that ain't true, Corey. Because I don't
But I
know.
think, but the reason why I say that is because you have to think about when you trade somebody who has tradable value, because if you trade someone, you want to get someone back in return.
I mean, unless like if I'm gonna trade Odell Beckham, you got to give me a grade 1 pass rusher back. Something. I got to
Like
get something
Or a
that I can put
linebacker
onto the field.
or a
Yeah,
safety, somebody who's
something
going to
that
have
I
an
can
effect,
on the game
somebody who's going
immediately.
to have an immediate effect to what we're doing.
I
Uh,
mean,
you can't always, and listen, I get it. I think because there's a question mark, you do at least
if you look
entertain.
at the trade to get,
What's that?
I think, honestly, I think it was a wash at this point. Yeah, I think the Giants would feel like they did because I think JP has been playing pretty good out there.
Yeah, and
Julian,
everybody keeps saying that the Giants won that trade. The Giants are in the damn playoffs.
but I
They
don't
won
think that
60
they
games.
quote
I
unquote
actually think
won that
the Giants,
trade.
I
I
think
think
the
it's been a
Giants,
wash, to be honest.
it's more of a wash, but I would say the Giants believe that they won that trade simply because they wanted to get rid of Odell. So in their
Yeah,
mind, they,
Well, hell, they might feel like that no matter what Odell did. That they
I
right.
wanted
mean,
to,
it
but they wanted
actually,
to get him out of there.
and if you look at the quarterback situation, it was actually a smart move because
Well,
the Giants aren't going anywhere.
honestly, I think the trade of Odell was the signal to the end for Eli.
Well, Eli was already done
Like I
before that.
think they were no, I think they were like, yeah, for sure, you out, man. Like, ain't no more of you. We not gonna keep hanging on to you. And having a guy like Odell when you got a guy or getting ready to draft a guy like Daniel Jones, and the way that things were going for him at that time for Odell, that wouldn't have been a good marriage. And not to say that Daniel Jones is so great, but whatever success he's having, I don't know that he would have had the same level of success with a guy like that's so grumpy, and as OBJ. That just wouldn't have been good. I don't think that would have been a good marriage, and I think that was the point for them. Like I think that was, let's move on. Let's get rid of Eli. Let's get rid of Odell. Let's get rid of JPP. Let's get rid of.
Yeah. I think the only problem with Odell is that he just brings drama even when he's not trying to cause it. Like he just one of those people.
Quiet. He could be sitting there quiet, and people are like, "Did you see how he was sitting there quiet?"
Right.
Yeah, I think he has a media reputation that doesn't line up with his standing in the league. I think the players like Odell.
They do.
But yeah, the players like him. I think Odell has a reputation probably similar to, not as bad as this guy, but Terrell Owens. Players like Terrell Owens.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I thought you were going to say Kyrie. I actually would have said Kyrie. Like, he's a guy like Kyrie who's complicated. People have their feelings about him, but people who've played with him, they love the dude for something.
I think Kyrie should really just stick to playing
basketball. Ask Jason Tatum if he likes Kyrie Irving.
Jason Tatum loved Kyrie, dog.
No, I don't know about that one.
Jason Tatum loved Kyrie. They talk all the time. Kyrie talks
Did
about
he say that?
All the time. Every time they see each other, they give each other this big goofy hug.
They acted like they didn't get along.
No,
you know
that's what the media put out there. Now, what didn't happen and what didn't happen well was how they gelled. And I'll be the first person. I'm a Kyrie fan. I'll be the first person to tell you. Kyrie being ball dominant or kind of ball dominant did get in the way of how Jason Tatum and Brown were developed.
I got you.
Interfered with that. It slowed that down. It didn't like mess it up. It slowed it down because now you're dealing with a guy that Kyrie, he wants to shoot 25, almost 30 times.
And you know what? And I kind of been saying that too. Boston, like I don't even think Kemba Walker really fits with them either. They need a point guard, a true point guard like a Rondo.
If they had a Rondo back when Rondo was Rondo, that'd
right.
be awesome. But
they need somebody like that to facilitate and not necessarily score.
I think Kemba works for them. I think he works better than Kyrie until you get to the spot where you basically ask Kemba to just kind of play a certain kind of way, and now nobody else is on. We need you to step up. Then there's a problem because now I haven't been stepping up this whole game, and now you want me to just kind of turn it on. Kemba's not a turn it on guy. Kemba's just kind of an on guy. He's always either on or he's not really on. The guy that can turn it on whenever the hell he wants to is Jason Tatum. That dude could be for 20.
He has the size. I think he has no idea how good he really can be.
I don't think he does either, bro. I don't think he does.
Jalen
has a better understanding of how good he is than Jason Tatum about himself.
Now, before we get too far off track, because you know how we do, we'll sit there and talk about the NBA for an hour.
We on the NBA right now.
Yeah, we went on the NBA, but we didn't damn dissected the whole Boston Celtics team.
How quickly we've moved.
Right. Now, let's move into real quick. What do the Browns have to do to win this football game?
Keys to the game. You want to start, Sean? You want to start, Corey? Matter of fact, we got a guest. Corey, you start, man. It's your floor.
What I think the Browns have to do to win the game is to stick with the plan.
And what's the plan?
The game plan should be I would suggest them using the pass to set up the run. I expect Pittsburgh to sell off a run. They're not going to let Chubb and Hunt beat them. They're going to make Baker beat them.
Okay.
Use the pass to set up the run. So that means you're going to depend on no hands in Njoku. You're gonna have to.
Hey man, Njoku caught that touchdown last.
I saw that. I was shocked.
Why didn't they challenge that?
I was wondering the same thing.
I don't know why they didn't. Maybe Mike McCarthy got a hold of that too.
Look, we are not taking our broadcast with Cowboys talk.
Y'all can take y'all can we can send him up there to coach the Browns on Sunday. But no, I think what the Browns have to do is stick to the plan, use the pass to set up the run, and defense just is a solid game. By Pittsburgh likes to throw the ball. They can't run the ball, so you can't.
Can't run.
Pittsburgh can't run.
They can't run.
Can't run. So what the Browns have to do is knowing that they can't run. You don't have to play bump and run and panic and jump routes. You jump routes, you're gonna get beat because that's what they like to do.
Yeah, that double move stuff.
Right.
Don't jump them routes, man, especially with Juju.
Right now, how much of a difference do you think Ben Roethlisberger is going to make in this game?
I think because Ben has been there before, he can settle them now. But this is not the Roethlisberger we think we're getting.
Right.
I agree with that.
Pittsburgh can be beat. But the Browns going to have to play a good game, not a perfect game, but a good game because Pittsburgh can be beat. Cincinnati showed us that.
Right.
Indianapolis showed us that. I think the other thing too on defense, the Browns have to be. They had to set the tone early. This is going to be a physical game. I don't think teams that are pass happy don't like physical games.
Right.
They don't like it, and so I would suggest that they come ready to hit and tackle.
I agree. All right, Ron, what are your keys to the game, sir?
Well, you know what my first one is. It's been the same all year. Run the goddamn ball. We need to run the ball. Yeah, I understand that these guys are going to load the box up, but doesn't everybody do that? They're going to load the box up anyway, but you got to use that against them as well. There could be a myriad of screen passes and real quick passes to pull that blitz back a little bit. But you got to attack these guys. You can't be afraid to attack these guys because they're going to attack us defensively. They're not going to hold off. TJ Watt's playing. Casey Hampton's playing. These guys is coming for our neck.
Did you go with Casey Hampton again? Did you go back to 2005? You meant
I mean, not Casey Hampton. I'm
Cam
sorry.
Hayward.
Cam, I'm sorry. I meant Cam. I did. Cam is playing. These guys are going to be coming for our neck. Now, they don't have the monsters at the linebacker position that they've had because of injury, of course. But to me, you attack those linebackers with the short passes. I've watched Hooper drop a few passes within the last couple of weeks that I thought he should have caught. But again, the tight ends have to be a part of this. I think the screen passes have to be a part of this. And the run game has to be what generates all of that. You got to be able to dictate the pace with your run game. They don't do well against the run, even with all of those guys that didn't play last week. They have not played well against the run. So I think you start there, and then you play from that angle. Baker has to be simple-minded, and by simple-minded, I mean he can't do too much. Don't try to do too much. Just try to play the game the way the game is.
No hero ball.
Yeah, ain't no hero ball, man. Listen, we need to win this game for sure, but you gotta play within yourself. Don't do too much. Don't be too hyped. Stop throwing, short screen passes and 5-yard passes like you're throwing at a beehive. Just settle down and play football. Defensively, though, they're going to double team Myles Garrett, man. We need somebody else to step up, whether it's Mack Wilson, whether it's BJ. I don't know what we're going to get out of BJ because he's, just coming out of the COVID.
We just need Mack Wilson to tackle. Look, Mack Wilson, you're one of the fastest linebackers in the league. You get to where you need to go. Tackle.
Stop that hit stick crap, bro. Go in there, wrap this dude up, and tackle this guy. And if you can't tackle him, hold him and let somebody else come get him. This is an important game. We may win, we may not win. But how the game turns out is going to be dictated on the game plan and how we actually execute whatever that game plan is.
And Matt Wilson may not be here too much longer if he doesn't turn around something. He out there running around with the the dog chain, talking about the dog
Turnover
chain and all
chain.
this, that, and the third running around. Like, look, dude, you ain't tackling the thing. Tackle. Screw
Look,
all the antics and all
you
this
gotta
stuff.
listen,
You
man.
have
I
the
love
talent.
all that stuff. I love
The
all that
talent is
stuff.
there.
I love all that stuff.
Oh,
However,
special teams. Who has the edge?
It's a wash. Well, they have the edge because whatever kicker they got off the street last week was lights out.
yeah,
And
he was kicking. He was
and
kicking.
we have a bum at kicker.
I
So yeah,
don't trust
so they
Cody
have the
Parkey,
edge
man.
on
I
that.
don't trust Cody Parkey. I
Nope.
just don't trust him. I got zero trust in Cody Parkey. I do trust the Scottish Hammer. He actually has. Sean and I actually got it. You might not believe this, Corey, but Sean and I actually got on him a couple of weeks ago because he hadn't been doing much, and then he started actually punting the ball well. I don't know. Maybe he's one of our 7 listeners secretly. We don't know. But if he can punt well and spot punt like we know that he can, and he actually did that in this game against Pittsburgh on Sunday, this past Sunday, he needs to do the same thing again. We need to be able to flip the field and do things like that too.
Right. And I like him just from the fact that he's Scottish, a punter, and went to a black college.
Yeah, ain't that
So
crazy?
I like it just for that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Reason why I brought up the special teams is that Pittsburgh is historically the hardest place to kick long field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially in that open end of the
Right.
stadium. I don't know what happens there. I've been there a couple of times, and I don't feel anything like extra, like no extra win. I mean, if anybody has been to Cleveland Brown Stadium, I understand why it's hard to kick in Cleveland Brown Stadium because I feel the wind coming through that building. I don't necessarily feel that there, so I don't know why it's so difficult. But it's apparently statistically, it is very hard to kick
Because they probably cheat. It's probably a vent somewhere that they open up when the opposing team is kicking.
Oh,
You remember back in the day in the old
They would just turn
Metrodome
on
with
the
the
vent.
Twins?
They'd
Remember the
turn on
old
the vent,
Metrodome, they had the vents blowing out when Kirby Puckett was up at bat?
turn on the vents like
Right. That's what they do. They got it's a vent somewhere in that damn stadium. But here's one of my keys. Running the football is definitely something that we have to do. But more so than anything, the Browns have to play a clean game. You cannot have any turnovers.
no.
You cannot have any dumb penalties that stall in drives. You can't do anything to give them an advantage. Now, the thing with Big Ben, I don't think Ben Roethlisberger would have played a better game than Mason Rudolph did this week. And to me, that is very encouraging. But Big Ben gets rid of the ball quickly. So we have to do something where we're getting in his face and forcing him to make a turnover. Because Big Ben now, he's not the same patient guy that he used to be back in the day. He will turn the ball over, but you got to get in his face.
I don't know that you can get in his face. This dude is getting rid of the ball in 2.5, 3 seconds. Like a lot of their stuff is so quick out of the, a lot of screens, a lot of backdoor screens. I know that's a basketball term, but I call a backdoor screen those ones where you line up the 3 and the guy comes behind the 2 wide receivers.
Man, they've been doing that cheat and pick play for years.
They've and
years.
Of course they always do that little rub play.
The rub plays
routes and stuff like that. Like they do a lot of really quick, really dirty Boston Celtic type shit. That's what they do.
Right. The only way we win this game, man, we got to force a turnover. Something like I said, I remember what game it was when I said we had to either make a special teams play or get a huge turnover in their territory. And that's what happened and turned the tide. I think it was a Tennessee game.
But we could do it. But I agree with one of the things that Corey brought up in terms of our defensive backs. These guys can't bite on them double moves, man. You have to assume, because ain't nobody on our team equivalent to the speed that Juju has or any of their wide receivers.
Their size.
But that's why you have to be in the right position. At this point, it's all about the technical parts of the game.
Right.
Because you can't out-physical the guy.
Right. If Pittsburgh is smart, they're going to pass it. They're not going to try to run the ball on us. They're going
No.
to pass on that depleted secondary the whole game.
They're coming
Expect to
out after
see-
the secondary.
Expect to see Big Ben in the shotgun, kind of an up-tempo spread type offense where
we
they're going to
don't- we
attack the
don't-
weakest part of our team.
And we're
Well,
middle
one
of the
other
road
thing
against the run.
about that
So because we're middle of the
been
road
talking
against the run, that's going to be a lot of short passes, and they're just going to expect us to try to make a tackle.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same thing.
Well,
I
I think
agree.
that, if you just do those short passes, the one advantage you have is you had to string a lot of those together. So there's a lot of opportunities for turnovers, penalties. But one thing I haven't heard mentioned, even in the media and other places, is I actually believe that this is the last year of Tomlin and Roethlisberger being together. I think this is it for him.
You think so?
I think so.
So you think Roethlisberger is leaving or Tomlin is leaving?
I would not be surprised. One of them is leaving for sure. It would not.
It may
shock
be.
me.
I would see because Pittsburgh, they don't fire coaches.
They're not going to fire him.
Right. So I can see Ben. I think they're going. If Ben wants to come back one more year, I think they'll give him one more year. I don't think they're going to unceremoniously just get rid of, say, Ben. Okay, we've had enough and cut you the way that New England did with Brady. Well, they didn't cut Brady, but they didn't re-sign him. Big Ben
I
still
mean, they
on
basically cut him.
contracts.
They didn't re-sign him. Shit.
Right.
Well, actually, they probably shouldn't have. But I could see Tomlin walking away.
I can't see that yet. Not now. No. I can't see him walking away right now. I would like him
Well,
to
it
walk away
depends on. Nah,
and get
I'll
away
say
from my
this.
doggone division and get out my
I'll say
division.
this,
I would love to see him walk away, but I don't think he is.
I'll say this. I can see him walking away depending on what is being said to him. This is a prideful guy, as he should be. This is a guy who's been one of the best coaches in the league for years. And all he's done is be successful. He gets threatened with his job damn near every year, especially by the fan base. And I know that because again, I got a bunch of friends that are Steelers fans, and some of the first things they do is call for this dude's job, like it's him. But I think it could depend on what these guys say to him, or what they tell him that he needs to do, et cetera, et cetera.
I think he's going to go to TV.
You think so, man? Now listen, okay, all right, I can see that. I mean, and it's an easier job. He ain't got to do so much.
I think he's done enough to be in the Hall of Fame as a coach.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's never had a losing season.
Never had a losing season. He's not 50 years old. There's other things he may want to do. So and realistically speaking, do you think Pittsburgh is going to be worse next year?
They ain't going to be better. I'll tell you that.
I don't think they're going to be better.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, they got a nice young core of receivers. The defense is lights out. The defense is A1. They're going to get those guys.
The best thing they got is the defense, but some of those guys aren't going to be back at the beginning of the season.
Unless the Pittsburgh's defense, we're not talking 85 Bears. We're not
talking.
No,
we're not. No,
we're not.
We are.
No, but it's still a good defense, though. It's a very good defense.
Talking about really good, though.
Really good, but if you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning.
Yeah, but you know what though, Corey, you'll never have another 85 Bears again because the rules won't allow it.
Right, but still, you
won't have the 2000 Ravens because the rules don't allow it.
You won't have that,
right?
But what I'm saying, I just think that they're not going to be better. That's why I think.
I don't think they're going to be better either. And to Corey's point, I hadn't thought about this until he just brought it up. But they're probably going to cut bait with a lot of people.
Right. And plus, Tomlin can get it. When you're talking about firing, I don't believe it, but Tomlin's going to get fired a couple of years ago. Half the league would give him a job in a minute.
Listen, that dude would be fired for about 20 minutes.
Not even that long. Not even that long.
God dang.
But no, I do see Tomlin leaving. But if Tomlin does leave, remember, Pittsburgh has a great track record of hiring coaches.
They do. Like they don't. It's not a high turnover. Hell, I'm 46. I've only remembered 2 coaches that these some bitches have had.
Well, this is the third one in our
Chuck,
lifetime.
yeah, that's what I mean. That's my point.
Yeah,
Chuck
right.
Noll is the first coach I remember them having, and then this guy. So,
Power.
oh, I forgot about Kyle. How the hell I
Yes.
forget about Kyle? That's
So-
3 coaches that these
And-
dudes have had, and all 3 of them are Hall of Famers, to be honest.
Right.
And actually, if I wish we had. I should have called my boy and had him on the show. To be honest, Cowher ain't even the best coach, that they've had. I'd say it's Chuck Noll and then it's Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
would
really record-wise, because Cowher did have a couple of lean years.
Cowher had
thrown in
a bunch of lean years.
there. Now granted, he had a
And
bunch
he
of
had
bad
some years
quarterbacks.
he or underachieved when he had a squad and couldn't get out of the conference championship. Cowher had a few of those years.
I don't
Right.
think they really had they really didn't have the right team, right quarterback until they got Roethlisberger.
That's very true. They had a bunch of
Now that
just
part
okay
I'll
guys.
agree with. They had everything else. They just didn't have the quarterback that could have gotten them over the top.
Right. Once they got a quarterback, then they were able to, win a championship.
Yeah, they were
And
all
so
they just relied solely on defense.
it-
Back then, remember they had LeVon Kirkland and Kevin
Them
Green,
stupid defenses.
Joey
man,
Porter,
them
and
stupid
all those
defenses.
guys.
Them stupid defenses. Greg
And that's-
Lloyd and all them
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
Man.
man.
I
and
hated
that-
all of them.
and that-
I
that's
still
really
hate them dudes.
Baker in this game on Sunday. Is he gonna try to do too much?
Yeah, we were saying that earlier.
Well,
That he
Yeah,
can't
you
do too.
call. That's what I said. You just got to be simple, bro. Play simple football.
And really, right now, the Browns don't have anything to lose. Nobody expects us to win this football game on Sunday.
Now,
Going in there.
but again,
Play
again,
loose.
I thoroughly agree with that, and that sounds awesome. But the reason I brought one of my keys to the game, which was Baker just play simple ball. I agree with what Corey is talking about. Is he going to try to do too much? Because here's your playoff, and people are saying you suck. How do you respond to this? And do you do too much? Do you try too hard? Do you try to carry too far? It's a great trait in Baker that he is that guy, but it's a gift and a curse.
I don't think he's really that guy. I think that he's
You don't
trying
think so?
I think football personality, he's trying to be too many guys. I don't think he's really settled in his football personality just yet. Remember,
You
this
think
is
he's still searching for it? You think he's still looking for it?
I think he's still looking for it.
It's
You
a
see it.
possibility.
You see it when he forced the ball to, Odell, for example. He has to learn to. He's really starting to learn how to manage the game.
And it's
Not just to make this about Baker, and I know you guys probably gonna talk about Ohio State, but there's a thing what happened with Dwayne Haskins. But usually a college quarterback probably needs to make about 25 to 30 starts before the NFL.
Oh, that I agree with wholeheartedly. Most
I don't
quarterbacks
disagree with that.
most
Right.
quarterbacks only start 1 year in college and come to the NFL. They normally aren't that successful.
And so Baker started how many years at Oklahoma? 1?
3.
He was there for 2 years, two and a half, I think,
Was it
It's
starter?
2 or 3. Yeah.
No, he's a walk-on.
because he did the 1 year where he won the Heisman, and then the
Yeah,
1
that
year
was-
where he was in the running but lost it, right?
Yeah. So he started at least 2 years.
Right. So he's getting to that, in terms of elite level quarterbacking, he's probably 10, I'm gonna say 20 college starts. So he's probably just now really getting to where you would like him to be coming into the league, maybe about 10 games over that. So he's still trying to find himself as a quarterback, a leader of men on the field.
I
Right.
can
So
dig
that's why
that.
you
I can,
No,
that's
I
why
can
you
dig that.
definitely see
up,
that.
But
down.
here's
turns
the
his way.
weird caveat though, Corey. The weird caveat is the way that college football is anymore. You only have about a year and a half or 2 where these quarterbacks are becoming who they are. So you got guys like Tua, Coming out of Alabama, guys like Lawrence coming out of Clemson. Same thing with now Lawrence has a lot more starts in college. But guys like Tua, guys like Baker, hell, even guys like what's my kid's name down in Arizona right now?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. You're dealing with kids that had great, like that one season, that one. I don't care how many other games you started, you didn't have this kind of a season
Right.
before this. So these guys, what you're saying is more analytical, and I get it though. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. What you're saying is after so many starts, you start to pick it up at another level.
You can really
These
find
guys are like, man, I hit this number, I could be the number one pick, I'm out.
Well,
Now they're going to the league to try to be developed, and you got to get everything right. Like you got to get the right coach. You got to get the right offense. And how many of those situations are set up for these kids?
Right. It's about system. You look at Justin Herbert with the Chargers, right? It looks like he can play, but it's the wrong coach. And
It's
I
the
believe
absolute wrong coach.
and the Chargers had no choice but to fire the coach. They're in a new city. They're like the number 12 team there. They don't have any
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. They're all the way down the depth chart. They all the way down the depth chart.
they're probably below the Aztecs and San Diego State. I mean, that's how low they are. So they had to get rid of the coach, right? But speaking of players, you guys saw the Sunday night game, the Eagles and the Washington football team.
Bro,
Right. I know what you're about to say, but go ahead.
Would you pull Jalen Hurts?
Well, me personally,
No.
Me
Why you-
personally, no. I don't know what the hell Doug Peterson was doing.
I know what he was doing.
I mean, I know what he was doing,
Who
but
do you
I
think
don't
he
know
what he was doing.
especially, and this is what I mean, because he went on, after the game into the interview and said some of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Like he wanted to check this dude out. What?
Well, I think
he wanted to check out.
Yeah,
That-
I think that I don't have a problem. I wouldn't have done it, but I don't have a problem with what Philly did.
I don't have a problem with it either.
Number one is there were 5-10 or whatever their record was, right?
I don't have a problem with what he did because as a divisional opponent, I don't give a shit that the damn Giants is mad at me. Fuck y'all.
They had
Like
all year
that's-
to win games.
That's how I like, to me, and Sean knows this. I don't give two shits about the damn Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, or the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I already know that Corey doesn't give two shits about the Giants, the damn Reds.
But what I do find
It
interesting,
just wasn't a good play.
this is what I think happened. I think the coach saw himself in Sudfeld and say, you know what? Hey, this kid been here he's been with me 3 years. He's not a starting quarterback. He might be able to win a game, in relief, right? I'm gonna do him a solid.
Well, I think what he was doing, man,
I
personally,
think he was trying to screw the damn the division. Personally,
I think he just trying to screw the game. They could have won that game, and winning that game would have cost them 3 draft slots.
Actually,
That's what
I don't think
listen, and that's it.
I don't think it's the draft slots that they should. If that was it, that was a mistake, because unless you're picking between, I think there's a big difference between, like, say, 1 and 4, and between 6 and 9. There's not that big.
Well,
of a-
because I think they are picking like number 4 or something like that.
no,
now.
They went from by losing that game, they dropped down to number 6. Had the Eagles won, they would win.
Oh, okay.
No, I
not-
think that's what Corey said.
No, there's a big difference between 1 and 4.
Yeah, that back end, the back end of 10, the back end of 10 ain't the same as the front end of 10.
Well, really though,
But
Or
here's the
should-
real advantage. Here's the real advantage by the Eagles losing that game. Guess what? They get I think they get a 4th place schedule next year.
well, see, I don't think there's no such thing as a 4th place schedule anymore. Or
Well, it
last
just depends.
schedule.
No, that's not true. It just depends on who those teams are. Because I agree,
Okay.
most teams
know,
are going to be some level of improved,
because because the NFL is so flaky. You don't know who's going to be good
The
from
Browns
year to year.
haven't had an easy. This is the easiest schedule the Browns have had in about 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Browns have been in last place for 18 years, and
Well,
we ain't never had an easy schedule up until now.
It's not completely easy, but when you get a 4-play schedule, for example, let's see, Browns, they finished in what, second place or third place this year?
Third.
Third. Okay, so in third place, that means they're going to get because they're not going to get Tennessee or
No,
or
we got the Chiefs.
Right.
We play the Chiefs on the road next year.
They're playing the AFC West.
So
yeah,
right, so
but I mean that's just the rotation of.
That's just the rotation.
Yeah, that's just the rotation.
That's my whole point. Like we have a third place schedule. We in third. We play the Packers.
That's your NFC.
Because we have to. That's what I'm saying. Because we have to play them. Because that's our NFC rotation. We got the Chiefs on the road. I forgot who else, man. The Browns. That's on paper. We have a tough schedule next year.
But
I don't believe in that last place schedule garbage.
We always
play who you play.
Right.
And then we play 2 games against the damn AFC East. I mean, excuse me, the AFC.
Right, exactly.
Right. So I'm saying that was. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but sometimes it does help. Because you remember, if you look at the first round, go back 3-4 years ago, do you know half the first round probably is not in the NFL?
What's that now?
Go back to the draft from 5 years ago. I hadn't even looked at it, but I can guarantee you half those guys are not even in the league.
Yeah, the same thing with the draft, man. It's like I don't like the whole thing. When it comes to the draft, they was like, well, I would have picked Braylon Edwards at 10, but I wouldn't have picked him at 4. And my thing is, if that's I'm saying like whoever, not just using Braylon as an example, but if you target a guy and you think that guy is going to benefit your team, it shouldn't matter where you pick him at.
I don't know the value thing that you.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, Sean, because I remember when Ezekiel Elliott came out, we were in the midst of people saying you don't draft a running back third or whatever, but I'm like, this dude ain't a regular running back. This guy's special. That's what I kept saying at that time, and I think it worked out well for Dallas, especially early on. I'm not sure.
Not this year.
Yeah, look, you ain't let me finish. I'm not sure how it continues to work out, but I think early on that was a great pick. My biggest issue with any draft, I don't care if it's NBA, I don't care if it's NFL. You can't have a top 1 through 5 guy, 6 guy, which is why people give Baker this kind of issue. You can't be one of those guys and you're developing.
Okay.
I feel like you have to come in ready to make a mark. Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna come in and be Joe Montana off the start or Ezekiel Elliott off the start or whatever like that. I'm not saying that you're gonna do that right away. What I'm saying is we should come into this thing and look over at you and be like, well, we know what we're working with. We shouldn't.
Well, Joe Montana, when Joe Montana came into the league, he was a backup.
Listen, listen, bro. I just used him as a name for who he was, not necessarily for how he came into the league.
Matter of fact, he was a 3rd round pick.
Right.
And he was behind.
Him
on the field.
So did Steve Young. Steve Young he was just a regular dude.
Well, Steve Young, well, in terms of just coming into the league, Steve Young was a bona fide quarterback. He wasn't
going to be. Listen, he wasn't that shit when he was in Tampa though.
Because nobody wanted to play. This a brief history. Nobody wanted to play in Tampa because their owner, the Cloverhouse,
right? He was gonna get killed.
No, this is what happened with Tampa. They made it once they decided not to play Doug Williams. Nobody wanted to play there. Bo Jackson, that's why he wouldn't play baseball.
I remember that. Bo Jackson said he refused to go to Tampa.
I tell you what. Now that right there is a history lesson. Thank you for bringing that up, bro.
But
that's 100% on that.
But Tampa historically was cheap. The stadium was cheap. I mean, their team facility I mean, it was a disaster. No one wanted to go there.
Well, I'm
Right.
glad nobody felt that way about the Browns, because damn it,
And,
that damn stadium and all that was awful.
Well, a lot of the things were, but this is the thing about the Browns is that, you know, in terms of sports town, you come to Cleveland, you do well, they're gonna love you. You don't
yeah,
even
you
have
can
to.
write your own ticket.
For,
Yeah,
forever.
And if,
Love you
and if you don't,
forever.
forever.
and if you win, that's a bonus. But my point to you about the draft, you know, there's not that big of a difference between 6 and 9. Do you?
It's not.
Let me tell you the draft in 2015, and I just picked this year. Okay, 2015. Your number one overall pick was Jameis Winston.
Jameis Crab Legs Winston.
I was
Okay.
about to say
Crab
that.
legs.
Okay, your number two pick was Mariota,
Oh Lord.
both on new teams. I'm just gonna give
Right.
you your top five here. Dante Fowler, number three.
Oh, he's been hurt. He can't stay. He can't stay on the field.
Amari Cooper was number four, who got traded from the Raiders to the Cowboys.
Listen,
Okay.
that was a blessing in disguise for y'all. When y'all got him, I was like, oh snap. These dudes
But
about
at least he's productive, though. Amari Cooper is
Right.
productive.
Amari is productive. He just been hurt these last, maybe the last year or so, right?
Right.
Last
Right.
year he got hurt.
But I'm
And
just
he-
telling you, if you got this draft, this Marcus Peters was in this draft.
Marcus Peters has been,
Marcus Peters is good. He's just a hothead.
he just been off and on, and I don't know.
A guy that's
not
a
his
guy
talent.
that's regret his career. When he's done playing, he's gonna think, man, I could have done so much more.
So who
Yeah,
was number
I
5 in
agree.
that draft? It was the 5th pick.
Number 5 in that draft was Brandon Scherf,
Who?
an offensive lineman from Iowa. Brandon is Scherf or not? Yeah, Scherf.
Well, look him up. Is he starting somewhere?
He's on Washington. He's been there 5 years.
Is he okay? All right. At least he's still in the league. I've never heard of him.
He's right. He's the guy. That's your number
He's the
one.
guy.
This draft
Was he
is-
drafted? Was he drafted by Washington?
drafted by Washington? He
Okay,
won the Outland
all right.
Trophy in college. Okay, Vic
He's the
Beasley.
guy.
He's the guy. Let me give you the other names here, right? You got Vic Beasley,
Yeah, he's bounced around.
Todd Gurley,
He's
Melvin.
done. He's washed up.
I mentioned Marcus Peters. Njoku's cousin, Nelson Aguilar. Can't catch.
Well, he's actually done well this
Right.
season in
He got,
in Vegas. He's done well.
All right. I mean, these guys, the guys you mentioned, at least are still in the
Yeah,
still
right.
in the league.
But let me
But
you know who Pittsburgh drafted that year? He ain't played
Bud
him,
Dupree.
but
Bud
Dupree.
Dupree. Look,
So
okay.
I've been telling my dude in Pittsburgh, who's a Pittsburgh fan, I'm like, man, Bud Dupree is gonna be okay. Just give him time. You know what he told me this year, just about 2 weeks ago? I don't think I've ever missed Bud Dupree more in my life.
but
You
But-
gotta find a place for him. He that good.
But what about draft picks can be very overrated. The key is that you got to know.
Agreed.
Right, 'cause
Agreed, bro.
if you go back to college, what's the difference between it? People could look at the stars and say this is why the team plays well. A good college team has a guy who was a really good high school player, and he just turned out to be a good college player. But this guy had no business being a college player. Or look at the average guy that's on the Patriots.
Right. Like the thing is, like, people act like that everyone is a great talent evaluator and they can predict. But most talent evaluators, it's all luck. You look for certain things and you hope that those things pan out. You look for certain personality traits, things like that, and you hope it translates
It's
to
not
the
all luck. I
NFL or
wouldn't say
whatever
it's all luck.
level of football that you're at that
I
time.
wouldn't say it's all luck. However, because there's so many guys that do it well. You know, the fact that the Steelers do it well, every draft, they just find a guy. The Ravens just find a guy, or they just get that one guy at 22 that you say to
Well,
yourself,
yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, Ron.
If
You really
I got
Go
a
ahead.
question for you.
go ahead, Corey.
If you had a son that was not a first round pick, okay, but clearly NFL prospect, what teams would you want other than the Browns? Because y'all homers. What team would you want him to be drafted by?
Well, my son ain't going to the damn Steelers because I disown him. Like
Well,
I know you didn't
I
choose to
tell
get
you this. So I'm
to
gonna
get drafted there.
and you know that Sean is sympathetic as well as ridiculous all at the same time. So he's gonna keep his he's very, 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 very about his thing. That's fine. I'm gonna be honest with you. Who do I want my son to go play for? I want them to go play for teams that are gonna win, or organizations that are built up. We saw Archie Manning do this for Eli. He didn't want him in San Diego. He wanted him somewhere else because he thought that the organization would be able to put stuff around him to make him better.
Oh, so what would you take Trevor Lawrence?
I don't disagree with that. I'm be honest with you. If my son got drafted by the Steelers, I'll be honest. I'll be like, damn it, I hate that you got drafted by the Steelers. I'll be at every game, but I do know you're gonna learn the game of football a certain kind of way because
Right.
that's what the Steelers do.
I think Pittsburgh is a team. I tell you another team, Seattle.
Seattle is another place. I would say Baltimore too.
Baltimore.
They have a structure of definitely stability is there, but they have a structure and a background that has just built winners and guys that know how to play ball, and they tend to stay around for a long period of time.
Man, if my son got drafted by the Ravens, I slit my wrist.
Listen,
I tell you,
well, he'll be able to pay for your funeral.
I was like, take me now, Lord, take me now.
I wouldn't like it, but man, listen, if they got drafted by the Lions, you already know the Lions are going to stay.
Right. And other good teams that good for developing players are, and I would not say Kansas City. I think they're top heavy, but I would say Green Bay.
Green Bay does a good
They
job
have
of certain players, certain positions. They honestly do good with their cornerbacks when they first come out, and then they go other places and become
reason why I say Green Bay, they have to, because Green Bay, no one wants to go there. They're not going to get any top free agent.
Yeah, so their draft has to be good.
They'll get a couple here and there. But I had a point about the draft and talent evaluators, because people act like Pittsburgh and Baltimore hit on all their draft picks like they hit 7 out of 7.
It's not that.
Right. So hold on. So when you go back and you look at their drafts, if you go back the past like 5 or 6 years, right, they may only hit on maybe about 2 or 3 of those players out of their draft to end up maybe becoming valuable starters. But that's really all that you want.
That's all you need, because
that's really all you need. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like these guys hit on all their draft picks. They just make 2 or 3 really good ones, and that's where you want to be with your draft. Now, like with the Browns, the past, I would say 15 out of the last 20 years, they weren't hitting on any of them. You know, from 99 all the way up until around maybe 2016. They weren't hitting on any of those drafts. Those guys weren't here no longer than like 2 or 3 years. They weren't hitting on nothing.
But
you can't have that.
But when you
that's a problem. If the team is hitting on 2 or 3 out of 7,
that's a good team.
Yeah,
that's a good team. Why? Because you got guys that can play, and you got guys under rookie contracts. So now, if you need to add a player or extend a player, you can do that. That's what you want in this league, because that's how you play this.
But look how they talk about Trevor Lawrence. They act like Trevor Lawrence is a lot to be a great quarterback. You don't know that.
We do that for everybody, though. Everybody that comes out of college that has had a solid.
Andrew Luck was supposed to be Joe Montana.
But listen, if you want to go back to what Corey,
what happened to Andrew Luck? You said it, Sean. He got to a team that they had an idiot for general manager. That's why he quit.
They did not make him important.
So it's a lot of factors when you draft a guy, it's a lot of factors that's going to make him successful, not just whether or not he's a good football player or not. You got to have that right.
We found that out later about Tim Couch, right? We
Right.
we have both said, once we go back, I know all of our bitter feelings, especially my bitter feelings. I was anti-Tim Couch for a long time.
He never had a
But
chance.
he never had a freaking chance, bro.
Never a
He
chance.
never had a freaking chance. And as you are being objective and being honest, when you don't have a chance because your offensive line is trash, you didn't draft a running back, which is what I thought they should have done anyway.
That team was trash.
It was
Well,
just set up for that guy to get
never allowed
pummeled
him to
for
play
2
that
years. And he got pummeled for 2.5, 3 years.
More than
got
that, he was here for Tim Couch was here for 5, I think.
But no, he didn't get pummeled for 5 years. He got pummeled for those first 2 or 3 years like nobody else got pummeled. He was getting
But-
sacked 40, 50 times a year.
But you talk about Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback prospect since
He
Andrew
is.
Luck. And even
And
before
Since who?
He is.
coming out of college, he's probably the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck.
Well, we'll see.
Listen,
We'll see how he
Trevor
plays.
Lawrence,
Now,
no,
here's the
no,
thing.
no, we're not gonna see.
Now,
You
here's
know
the
why
thing.
we're not gonna see? You know why
He's
we're
going
not
to
gonna
a horrible organization.
Well,
You know why
actually,
we're not gonna
he
see?
ain't going to Jacksonville.
Because
If he's
Trevor
smart, he won't
here's
go to
why we're not
Jacksonville.
gonna see, Sean. Because Trevor Lawrence is Trevor Lawrence. Going back to what Corey was saying in terms of the analytics, this dude has started for 3 years. Like all games,
Right.
whatever, 12, 13 games, 14 games or whatever. Depending on how deep they went into the playoffs, and he's got 2 national championships. Like this kid is, in terms of being the guy and being out there and being up front, who's right this second, who's better?
And you gotta
Okay.
remember this. You gotta remember
Now,
this too.
that doesn't mean that
Wait,
Justin Fields doesn't have as big
No.
of
You're right. I see where you're coming from. I get your point as far as
And
looking at it from that perspective. So I agree
and
with
he's
you on
played
that.
in, not only has he played a lot and in big games, he's played with the expectations of being the top guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He's been the
Well,
number 1 quarterback.
If he
going
can
into
go
every
to
game.
Jacksonville
Yeah.
and turn
ain't
that
going to
raggedy
Jacksonville.
franchise around, you might as well go ahead and just make him a bust right now for
You
camp.
know what? He ain't
Get his
going
bust
to
together.
because this is the reason why
That franchise is terrible.
Hey man, stop
ain't
it,
going-
John. Stop.
No, they are. They shouldn't even have a football team. Like moving a team to Jacksonville is one of the worst decisions the NFL ever made.
People, you know what I just read the other day? I just read an article about people saying that one of the most attractive jobs in the NFL is Jacksonville.
That's why.
Why? Because you get paid.
Well, of course, because you're gonna get paid.
No, you go
But
get over.
to them, the first thing that they mentioned was Trevor Lawrence. You get the number 1 pick, so now you have the opportunity from an executive standpoint to build a team that you want. Here's the problem.
I don't think that that's the most attractive
I,
coaching. job.
bro, I just read the article. I'm not.
And whoever wrote it,
I read it.
wrong. I don't even want to say
I
his
just
name.
read the article. I'm telling you all I read this. I ain't telling you I agree with
Well,
it.
I have to
But-
say, the Chargers are the
Look,
most
they
attractive team.
think that bringing in Trevor Lawrence is, and I understand how they have it built up. I understand how they have it built up. And their minds are like, yeah, we get the number 1 pick. This kid comes, and then that means that we'll get this tackle, or that means that we'll get this guard or this center or this running back, and blah blah blah.
Right.
Like in their mind, it's like a magic trick.
Now the problem is
Actually, I missed
their owner, the Iron Sheik, has depleted the cupboards in Jacksonville. The Iron Sheik got rid of everybody. He got rid of
Man,
Ramsey.
not the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, he
Not
like the Iron Sheik. What's his name? Amir Khan. What's his name?
The owner, he's the owner of every Motel 6.
No, but
What's his name?
Tallahassee.
Amir Khan. Well, look,
Yeah.
look, for purposes of 2 guys in the mic, he will be now known as the Iron Sheik from now on. So the Iron Sheik got rid of Fournette. He got rid of Ramsey. He got rid of every valuable person on that football team.
Well,
Not
Fournette got
the
rid
Iron Sheik. He did,
Four-
and they were in
Fournette
the
got rid-
AFC Championship. How do you
Well,
get rid of all the guys that got you to the AFC Championship?
Right, like
Easy.
all of them.
easy, because it was fool's gold. I mean, who was the quarterback? Was it Blake Bortles?
Yeah, Blake Bortles.
Yeah,
Practice
Blake.
squad?
No, listen, we ain't tripping on Blake. We ain't
No,
tripping
but
on
I'm
Blake.
just saying that that team maximized what it had. You have basically a backup quarterback, and then why you gonna pay Jalen Ramsey and your team ain't going nowhere? And Fournette actually played himself out of there because he just really wasn't professional. But I misspoke earlier and I said the team that has the most attractive job opening, coaching wise, is Houston.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's a great
I was-
great city, and they got talent on their squad. Like they got
Deshaun Watson had one of the best years
Got
in the
Deshaun
history of the
Watson.
NFL.
yeah,
That went under the radar.
yeah.
Now, what Houston did wrong is that they gave away DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, they gave Bill O'Brien too much power. That was their first mistake. I don't know what,
But-
like Bill O'Brien didn't have the cachet to have as much power as he did. And
Yeah,
then
he was
come to
walking
find
around
out,
like he was damn Nick Saban. Like
right,
he
and
was,
then
DeAndre.
there was a story in there that their team chaplain had just as much power as Bill O'Brien, Father Flagler, whatever his name was. And he was over in there making personnel decisions. I was like, what kind of buffoonery is that? You got
like,
your team
I
chaplain.
didn't see him at Chapel. He got to go.
Right. Right.
But
Like
no, it's
you
because
weren't
of-
in communion this morning, so we about to cut
Yeah,
your ass.
man, like come on,
You
bro.
know?
but no, Houston because of Deshaun Watson. But I don't expect Trevor Lawrence to go to Jacksonville because the organization isn't stable enough. And his guy is probably talent wise, he's probably just a slight grade below Elway when Elway came out of college.
Yeah. So, but if he does go to Jacksonville, the organization needs to be patient with the kid and not throw him to the wolves too fast.
They
There's
haven't
no
been patient
talent.
with shit.
It's
They
no,
ain't been
they
patient
have
with
they have
nothing.
some good young players there. They DJ Shark,
And that's what I mean.
the running back. What's his running back's name? What's his name? Robinson, John Robinson.
I don't know who's on Jacksonville.
So they have some young pieces there, but
it's
you want to bring him
Jacksonville.
along slowly to make sure that he don't get killed his first 2 years.
Listen, it's Jacksonville. You're not bringing too many free agents down to Jacksonville. I know it's Florida, but Jacksonville is like
You're gonna
not
overpay.
really the Florida.
Man, Jacksonville is more like South Georgia.
Yeah, like Jacksonville is awful.
It's
Like it is not a great spot.
I've been there.
Kind of hang out. I've been there too.
I've been
Because
there.
I've been to Gainesville. So
It's not
I've been to Gainesville. I've been to Tallahassee. I've been to Jacksonville. I mean to tell you, you talking about 3 spots I thought I was still in Georgia. Like it's swampy, it's hot, it's not a lot to do. They're kind of governed by those like old South rules. Like, okay, it's 10:30. Everybody should be at home because it's Saturday night. We got to get ready for church. Like so, you know what I mean? Like it's not like this big nightlife like you're gonna get down on South Beach or anything like that. It's not the Florida that you think you're in Florida, but okay.
It's
gonna
nothing.
find out.
I mean,
It's the
it's
same. Look, it ain't even Tampa. Tampa at least got a nightlife. God damn it.
right. Yeah, Whiteboard City.
Yeah. Like freaking Orlando is just now starting to get nightlife. Like now, like recently. It's not a lot to do in Orlando. My mother-in-law lives in Orlando. It's just not a lot to do down there. You go down there and you kind of like, okay.
Well,
that's
why the Browns are drag racing out in Westlake.
That's
Right.
trust me. That's why they
Yeah,
love it.
exactly.
You
I mean,
in
but-
Westlake, homie. Ain't nothing to do in Westlake in January.
But some players tend to get in trouble because they had this invincibility complex. They get bored, right?
It's that whole adrenaline rush thing, bro.
And then sometimes
They got so many things they want to do. It's almost like the Kellen Winslow complex. Yeah, I don't know how to ride a motorcycle, so I'm gonna learn in this parking lot full speed.
right.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Doing
Just
crazy
dumb.
stuff.
That's a
But
sad
look, fellas.
case. He's really come on some hard times.
Oh yeah, he's in jail, so
Who?
he's gonna be there for a long time.
Kellen. Yeah, Kellen
I
had
even
it.
read the story with
I
my
know some. Hey man, I know some guys. I know a
Yeah,
couple.
man. You know what? You told us one of those stories, and please don't tell us that story
Yeah, I'm
again.
not gonna tell that story. I know some guys that know Kellen.
it's
I
safe
knew
to say-
Kellen. I met Kellen.
no,
I
no, no.
hung out with Kellen a little bit, only a little bit.
Yeah, it's not one of those go hide the kids ones, but guys just have to just realize that you're a target of right or wrong, you're a target of some things. You just
People coming for you. Yeah.
they coming for you. They want to use you to make a name. And
All right, fellas, let's go ahead and move on to Ohio State. I know this is gonna burn Corey, so you can see you got that ugly ass Michigan stuff on right
I
now.
got another shirt underneath
And
this.
first of all, you know
It
what?
could
And
easily
first
be
of all,
one of the most ridiculous things that's ever been on this show, other than Stover with his stupid ass.
Pittsburgh. And I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Like I said in the introduction when I was bringing my boy on to the show, Corey is one of the most non-Cleveland people from Cleveland that I know. He doesn't like anything about the city of Cleveland besides Mount Pleasant barbecue and the shoulder sandwiches with fries
And
and
that's the
sauce.
worst. Listen, and that's the worst barbecue place in Cleveland.
I think
That's
that
the
it
only-
has, now, it
I would
has-
rather go to the damn. Look, I would rather go to the damn shrimp boat on 130.
I'm shocked that it's still
Did they
open.
wash those windows yet over at Shrimp Boat?
Nope, it's the same dirty ass windows that we was going to Sunday school in the morning.
Oh man, you
The same stuff.
life in danger eating the shrimp. Boat.
I can't believe you went to the damn. Did they wash the windows?
Man, hey, see, Peanut, you ain't know about this. Like in between after Sunday school, like me, Corey, and a couple other people, we were the designated store runners after Sunday school. We was the only ones allowed to leave church.
That when I came to your church, I went to the store with y'all before.
Yeah, Rainbow over there. Shout out to the old Rainbow Corners on 130th in Kinsman.
Yep.
And so, and sometimes we have to make shrimp boat runs. We coming back with now laters.
Like how you coming back
longs, 2 foot longs with mustard, shrimp with Corey, am I lying?
Coming back with fries and sauce.
Hey,
Yeah, fries and sauce.
They be open.
Because when I came to your church, I remember this. Y'all were both ushering.
Yeah.
I said, damn, I got to sit by myself. He was like, don't worry about it.
That was part of to be an usher. When they start, you could just slip out.
Like, no, don't worry about it, dog. Just sit right here. You good?
Right. Man, every Sunday, man, we would get a list. Like my mama, everybody loved my mother because she ain't careful with the store. Everybody else would get in trouble. My mother was like, look, as long as you bring me back a Pepsi and them dandy corn twisters, I don't care what you do, bring me my stuff back. So we would have we would have a grocery list of candy, pop,
chips,
chips coming back with
Here's why I love Cleveland. This is why I love Cleveland, dog.
And you got to get in a couple of video games while you at the store.
Yeah, because you gotta wait. Listen, you got 15 orders. You gotta wait. So you gotta get into the video game, bro.
Being there playing Double Dragon, spending up our Sunday school money.
Right.
But
on the way there, order, go to the store, play your games, and then get you on the way back.
Exactly. Now, what I was saying though, Corey has ridiculed me about the Cleveland Browns from the time I was about 5 years old, giving me hell, giving me grief. He made me feel like it was something wrong with me for rooting for my hometown team. He talked about, Corey is the reason why I hate the Dallas Cowboys. There's no other reason for me to hate the Dallas Cowboys, but it's because of you.
There's a lot of reasons to hate Dallas.
It's because of you that all I heard was Tony Dorsett. He wouldn't hype up the kicker. Raphael stepped in. It was just ridiculous.
You know what? I used to like Tony Dorsett, and I actually used to like Danny White.
I didn't. I hated all of them because of him. I ain't like nothing about the Cowboys.
I didn't like Dallas, but I did like those guys. So the same, I'm gonna go ahead and put my bid in on this real quick. Because when I first met Corey asked me, I remember this. who's your favorite team? And I said, I'm a Browns fan. I'm like kind of weirded out because this dude is in the same spot I'm in.
Right.
Like my thoughts were, what you mean? I'm a Browns fan. He was like, it's another loser. That's what he said. That's what he said in my face, to my face. Another loser. I wanted to fight the dude, but I couldn't because I'm in John's house. You know, look, I wanted to fight him. I couldn't. He said another loser to my face. Man, I was mad as hell. Hey, look, I asked y'all, trying to tell you, we talked about this. I said, man, I was upstairs in the room like, man, this dude got to stay here. He got to.
But here's the funny
pissed.
thing. Here's the funny thing. When Corey got grown and moved out of Cleveland, he always followed the Browns. Like he knew more stuff going on with the Browns than I did. Like, man, for you to hate the Browns so much, how do you know all of this? He said, and he said this. Hold on, you said this because I'm from Cleveland. People automatically assume that I like the Browns, and it's embarrassing. So I'll follow them, so I know what's going on, so I can talk. So I can talk down and talk bad about them, let them know that I'm not really a fan, but I'm from Cleveland. That's exactly what you.
That's awful.
What
that
you
is
said
awful.
is
that is awful, bro.
I told you a couple years ago, even before this season, I said the Browns have a really good roster. They have a really good.
Now you're fair when it comes to your analysis.
No, they have a really good roster. Don't ruin. But you got to find out, is Baker really that guy?
Right.
That's what you. And even still, is Baker that guy?
Well, we're about to
I
find
don't
out.
think he's that guy, but they're gonna stick with him.
We're about to find out. But
he's gonna get that 5th year.
Yeah.
So it feels good having you on this show when we're going. No matter what happens Sunday, the Browns are turning around and we're on the right track. And on top of that, I can give you eternal grief right now about Michigan. Now we're moving into Ohio State. Like, it's another thing too, man. Corey's giving me grief. Michigan used to kick our ass during the whole John
For no
Cooper
reason.
era. Man,
We
I
had
had to
so
sit there
many
and take
better
all of
teams
that.
than they did, and them dudes just whoop our ass.
You know,
I had to take it.
Y'all think, it's Michigan it has been some down. This year was clearly like worse than a down year, but the gap between Michigan and Ohio State is not because of coaching. It's actually because Harbaugh's a good coach. Harbaugh could leave Michigan and he's gonna get multiple offers. They can't get.
Here comes the delusion. Here it comes.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
You see my face? I don't know if you see my face.
No,
but like,
the difference is that Michigan cannot get the players that they really need to compete. They have a similar issue that Notre
and that's
Dame.
not coaching.
No. It's not coaching in the sense that those players are coached up. They can't do much more because they don't have the talent. You have a talent gap. And Notre Dame has the same problem too because they can't get the players to really compete with Ohio State.
Here,
No, you saw Notre Dame play Alabama.
so
They can't, and the reason why they can't get the players is because the administration won't allow them to do that. The administration is content. Okay, Michigan they won 10 games. I think last year, actually the year before that, they won 10 games twice since Harbaugh is gone there.
So are you saying that Michigan will not compromise their academic standards to get the better players?
I think it's I think it's largely that. But
so wait a minute. So hold up. Now all the years that Michigan was great, you're trying to tell me that all these guys were just academic scholars?
No. What I'm saying is, like, when I was at Michigan, they had guys that they had guys that you don't get now. For example,
tell us the time period so those people that out here listening don't know. What time period did you go to Michigan?
So that we can all understand exactly what you're talking about and when.
In early 90s, okay, we had Ricky Powers, who was an all-state back in Ohio behind I think Robert Smith. So Michigan recruited well in northern Ohio, western Pennsylvania. You had guys like Ricky Powers, Charles Woodson, Law, right?
Right.
But I
Right.
mean, not just college does, but minus Ricky Power. You're talking about Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame players, right?
Actually, yep, you are. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you can. I mean, we'll get a guy like Jabril Peppers, right? But Michigan ain't in the conversation for some of those guys. That never used to happen. That never used to happen. So when you don't,
So what do you think that needs to be done for Michigan to take that next step to compete for a national? And to be fair, Michigan in the Harbaugh era has competed to be in the running for the national championship and just came down and lost to Ohio State the last game of the season. So I will not sit here and act like that Michigan has been a complete dumpster fest,
No,
during Harbaugh's tenure. I won't. I'm gonna be fair. As much as I hate y'all,
Once or twice.
I'm fair.
Has it been once or twice? It's only been like once or twice.
right.
What?
But I would say this about Ohio State too, in terms of their recruiting. Historically, Ohio State's recruited well at home in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. The difference now is they're getting guys from Florida,
Texas.
and Georgia, and
Yeah,
Texas.
that's the Urban Meyer effect.
Yes, it is.
Right, but right, and so that was starting to happen, but now they're getting those guys.
Right.
So now the talent is sort of shifted, and even and also in Michigan's heyday too, they were hitting California well. Because if
Oh,
you
y'all
got
used to love California.
because
Just get your quarterback from
right
California back.
because in college football now,
Harbaugh
if
from
you got-
California. Sure.
No, Harbaugh's from Ohio.
Is he from what? Oh, you know
Yeah,
what?
his
He,
father-
From Toledo.
yeah, he
I'm
was
sorry.
high
I was
school-
thinking about where he was coaching at.
Now Tom
but-
Brady's from California, and I
Right.
think
Now,
Drew
dig
Henson
this
from
though.
California.
So
but if you look
I,
at
I
recruiting,
hear,
no,
I hear.
no, but
I
what I'm
hear you
saying,
saying-
Ohio State's
Go
figured
ahead. Go
out
ahead. I'm sorry.
is this: you have to recruit your natural territory. You got to get all the guys you want in your natural territory. So for Ohio State, that's Ohio. You got to get all the good guys from Ohio, and get a couple of decent guys from Michigan and Pennsylvania. But what Ohio State has really done is they've reached out and got to get guys from Texas, Florida, and California. You got to do well in one of those three regions, and that's the difference. If you don't do that, you cannot be an elite program.
And you
Yeah.
don't think that that's coaching. So here's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
I think it's coaching, but you have to have enough. Michigan doesn't have they don't have enough talent.
But here's why I'm saying I think it might be coaching, bro. Listen to where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
I think that the style of what Michigan doesn't always do well for the guys that go there. Like, I just think they're trying to do this old school Michigan type of offense, and it don't do well. And guys that could go there, and they probably would. I mean, Michigan is one of the most, let's be honest, one of the most prominent schools in the country, whether it's academic or athletic. It has cachet.
It does have,
Michigan has cachet. So they could get the guys from Texas too. They could get the guys from Georgia too, and
I
from
think
Florida.
they can. I think they can, but
But the problem
guys-
is they run a goofy.
I think the offense is challenged, but also
There you go. That's all I'm saying.
I think the scheme probably needs to improve. And you see, like for example, since Harbaugh's been there, they haven't had the right quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback
Absolutely not. No, they have not.
even a marginal NFL prospect. Okay, so right there, so the quarterback you're deficient in number, and I think certain terms of the elite players, they can't get on. And I think it's largely it's not because people know Harbaugh as a coach. They know he can coach. They're not.
But do
they're
they
not-
trust what he's doing there though?
No,
Like he
right.
might be a good coach, but do they
They-
trust? Like as
No.
I'm a player, so I'm
No, no,
like,
no, no,
man,
no,
I would like
no.
to go to Michigan, but
No.
I don't trust what that dude is doing.
No, I don't think that's it at all. I think that the university is not going to allow them to get certain players
And why do you think that? Why do you say that?
because I think they've gotten too political.
Yeah, didn't you guys have on the football team some type of scandal some years ago, and I made them switch up? They didn't want to bring certain guys,
I think
type
that's
of guys to school. Like something happened. I can't remember what happened,
well, that
but
was probably-
something happened, and that's when a shift came in the type of guys that you would recruit.
Well, I think some of that was probably a fallout from the 5-5 in the basketball.
Bad
program.
5-2, yeah.
But it's not just Michigan. I think
But your basketball program is fine. Basketball program is.
Oh
is-
no,
is-
listen.
because got that.
basketball program might be one of the, if not the best. It's like right in the top two in the
But
damn
those are
conference.
apples.
But I think it's the
But
best in
those
the
are
conference, to be
but
honest.
those are apples and oranges because the
Yeah.
lifeblood of college athletics, as you know, is football. But I
Yeah,
mean, it's
that's where the
but
money
I know
comes
y'all want
from.
to get to Ohio State, but it's not just Michigan. Notre Dame has had this problem. That's why they can't get on because Notre Dame has an excellent coach. They just don't have the talent, the elite talent.
I still don't know
To
about the whole excellent coach thing. Kelly don't do
he's won
nothing.
where he's been.
I mean, I understand the
And
numbers
even before he
and
got
how
to
the
Notre
offense moves and all that stuff, but I just don't.
and
And
even
he'll
before
get another job. Like if he were to get fired by Notre Dame, he'll get another job.
yeah,
So
he
I
can
do understand what you're saying, and I know
but
Harbaugh
think
will
about,
too.
right, think about this even about Brian Kelly and Notre Dame, right? What was Notre Dame 10 years ago?
Yeah, they was taking L's. They was
What was
taking serious
what
L's.
was
They was
Notre Dame?
losing.
What was Notre
However,
Dame? What was Notre Dame 20 years ago?
now 20 years ago, 20,
Oh,
25
because
years ago, these guys were.
once Lou Holtz left, Notre Dame fell off the cliff.
But the thing about Lou Holtz, even when they went to the national championship, you knew that they had a chance to win.
Right,
There was nobody who believed that they were
and
going
that's
to
why
beat
he left too,
Alabama.
because he couldn't get the players like the team that won the national championship. This is right after Tim Brown left. They wouldn't have got the Tim Browns and the Tony Rices. They didn't get the.
So what's the difference now? Because the college landscape has changed so much, where your traditional powers aren't that good anymore. So what's the
Right.
difference between Clemson getting a guy like Dabo Swinney who resurrects that program and gets them on the national stage, as opposed to schools like USC who has a ton
Right.
of talent around them,
They can't get
the
the coach right.
UCLA's, Texas. You're in Texas.
You in Texas?
Texas is struggling too. Texas
You
is
in
not
Oklahoma? Oklahoma
where they
close
used
to
to be.
Texas, and they got Oklahoma boys, all that. Like, why ain't they
Yeah, so
able to get these
what
guys?
is it now where these traditional powers are struggling right now? But then you have the same Ohio State, Alabama, and Clemson are flourishing. So I know, man, this is where I defer to Corey, because Corey's one of the smartest people I know. So when it comes to stuff like this, I will always defer to him.
I would say,
in his take on it.
in cases of Alabama and not Oklahoma, Alabama and Ohio State, the administration is committed to football, top to bottom, because they understand not just the money of it, but understand that how it's useful in terms of marketing university. It's part of
Right.
their identity. They're committed to it, right? They got plenty of resources. So I mean, that's the case, and you got the right coach. We don't know so much about Day yet, but he had excellent foundation for Urban Meyer. So let's just assume this is pretty much Urban's players, right?
Right.
So you got the right coach, you got the university committed to it. You mentioned Texas; they just fired their coach.
Right.
As they should have.
Ohio State guy.
No, he should have been
As they
gone.
should have.
He should have been gone. He might not have been. Should have been hired. And Texas,
Might
they
not
got
have should have been hired. You're right.
Texas got plenty of money, right?
But they make, I mean, they making like 115, 200, almost 150 million dollars a year.
But why can't? And the problem with Texas is, ever since it's young, or even, actually since Colt McCoy, they can't get the quarterback right. Because you know what happens to the best quarterbacks down here? They end up Texas Tech. That's Mahomes. Baker Mayfield, who from Austin,
Yeah.
went to Oklahoma. Kyler Murray, he's from Texas.
Went to
Everybody's
Oklahoma.
went to Oklahoma, A&M, then Oklahoma. So guys are leaving, right? And this just happened even like in the 80s. Like LSU never been good. Why did LSU get good when Saban got there? Because all the players that were from Louisiana, everybody started staying home. That's how they got good, right? People think the Florida schools are powers historically. No, they're not. They went to Nebraska. They went to Ohio State. They went elsewhere. That's why them Florida schools.
That's
really
true. I remember when Nebraska was good, their quarterbacks like Tommy, what was his name?
Tommy Frazier.
Tommy Frazier.
Yeah, he was from Florida. Yeah,
Right.
their quarterbacks were always coming from Florida, and they would run like that offense system up there. I remember that.
They lived off that because they played the Orange Bowl every year, so they got to see them, right? So
Right.
USC, I don't think they have the right coach. It's a recruiting hotbed. They don't have a problem with players. So what does that tell me? They ain't got the right coach.
Okay.
They got an okay coach, but they got a. They got an okay coach.
You
Okay.
mean they got a good enough coach?
So
but
basically,
not a
basically,
coach that's
so,
gonna
so
take
what you're
over
saying for the
pressure.
most part, it starts at the very top, and the athletic department sets the tone for how the football program gets
The
run.
department, I think the whole administration.
No, the whole. I think he's saying the whole administration is.
Administration.
Okay.
You got to
But
have.
think about this, Sean, and I think Corey knows this too because he's from Ohio. When you go to Columbus, man, tell me what other reason do you go to Columbus to do anything?
There's only two things in Columbus. It's Ohio State and it's the state government. They run the town. In
Right.
Ohio, in terms of college football, Ohio State doesn't have a peer, right? So even if a lot of people, even if they go to Kent State or Miami, they Ohio State fans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
exactly what I'm saying. So I understand what
So they got
Corey's
that
saying.
commitment. So they had that commitment to it. And they
Because
got
they
the
know where the
money.
money is coming from. Listen,
Right,
as a,
and they
as a
got
state government,
they got the money to back
yeah,
it up. If they need to get another coach, they ain't got no problem with paying somebody, right? Clemson is basically an SEC school in the ACC,
Right.
oh yeah, for sure,
so
for sure.
they figured it out, and so
But they were bad for years. Clemson had fell off the map for years.
they
And
fell
then
off the map.
Dabble gets there. Now maybe that's because Dabble has Alabama ties. Maybe he's able to recruit guys.
Well, I think they started getting some players because they really weren't.
They started getting a lot of Florida guys too.
Yeah.
They started getting some Florida guys, and next thing you know, boom. Now people want to go there. Success breeds success, right?
Right.
I mean, I tell you, up and coming program in the Big Ten, if they do it right,
Indiana.
if they do
I'm
it
getting
right.
ready to say Indiana Northwestern too, actually.
Now Northwestern's going to always have a challenge. I think they benefit by being in the West Division.
Well, their challenge is the academic standards there.
Yeah, right.
Because Northwestern is always a smart. Yeah, now that school.
Now Northwestern. Now Pat Fitzgerald is just a hell of a coach. One of the best coaches in college
he's
football.
That's where I thought, like in my own mind, I thought coach wise, they're already set up and they're really a good team.
He's not going to be there much longer. I mean, he's been there for over 10 years. He's getting the offers now. He's finally people finally recognizing who he is.
He's got
he's finally getting offers to go elsewhere.
He got about another year or two there.
Right.
But he's built a good enough foundation, man. I think I know what you guys are saying in terms of no, that's not what y'all were talking about. But I think Northwestern would be a problem if he stays there for another 2 years. They're gonna continue to be a problem.
But here's something else too to think about. A lot of colleges, universities have to realize who they are. A lot of them think they're better than who they are. When you have like Purdue and Illinois firing coaches after 2 years, like who do you think you are? You know what I'm saying? Like give a guy a chance to understand.
Wisconsin is tough. That's a tough place.
Yeah, it takes you
on. You have to, like in case Illinois coach had been there like 5 years.
I was just getting ready to say Illinois. Like, dog, you just fired. Y'all ain't been good in forever. So why are you just firing this dude?
Well, you have to kind of let it cycle through, and then
exactly.
They probably got rid of him last year, but then you got to start counting the money. Who's going to pay these buyouts? Do you know how much it costs Texas to fire their coach?
Oh,
how many years did my man have, Todd Herman?
I don't know, but it's going to cost them maybe $25 million.
Yeah, look at Auburn and Gus Malvern. Malvern has really pissed them off because they owed him like $21 million.
Now
that was their own dumbass fault.
Think about this though. Okay, so if you want to get rid of coach and you're going to pay the assistants too, cost you $25 million. Who's going to pay for it?
Right.
Because who's going to pay for it? You're going to get on the phone with Tyrone and call him boosters out and see how much money you're going to chip in. Because that's how this stuff is getting done now, right? And so in the case of Ohio State, the game, I was really impressed by how they played start to finish. They didn't take their foot off the gas. They played a perfect game.
Didn't.
And they shouldn't.
I didn't think they had it in them.
I didn't think so either, bro. I actually said that in the show. I didn't think they had it in him. I was like, man, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with Todd Day those last couple games. Similar to the
Yeah,
way I
the
feel
play call,
about
yeah, the play calling
Stefanski.
was awful
I think
They
leading
that
were
up to that game.
off, and
All
somehow
right,
this dude came into that game and put his foot on them dudes' throats and never took it off.
but yeah,
That's crazy.
they played a perfect game. I think they were also aided by, I think Clemson was looking ahead just a little bit. They got caught looking ahead. They really got punched in the mouth.
they
Now
did.
this
They got everything they deserved. Dabo was
They
talking
got
shit.
everything they deserve because
He
they
was
was
being
talking
flat
too
out
much shit.
disrespectful. He
But
got
now,
everything he freaking deserved.
I
but
don't
now
think
you got Saban's daughter talking shit.
Yep.
Talking about we, holding up the game potentially because of Justin Fields' injury, blah, blah, blah.
Well, let's
Listen,
say
first of all, I don't care about what people's coaches' daughters say because she ain't coached the game and she hasn't. There's no reason for me to care about what she thinks.
Right.
However, once that stuff all gets out, it still plays against you or could play against
I
you. The
think
thing
that
that go
Justin
ahead, bro. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
if you well, let's just say they did hold the game up for Justin Fields. Well, why wouldn't you? Because it is a television product.
Listen, I'm not against him holding it up for him if that's the case. But here's what I've heard. Again, I got some folks that are in the system down there at Ohio State. They're like
Unnamed sources.
unnamed sources. I can't give up my sources because I need them to keep giving me information.
Okay. All right.
But they were like, nah, Dustin is cool. Yeah, he's a little bit dinged up, but there was never a situation where they were like, oh, we need more time, so let's just use the COVID thing. Like, to be honest, Ohio State's a little bit, they're put off by this suggestion.
It's a head game.
Because in their mind, they're like, nah, we've been prepared to play this game regardless. And it was a head game. I knew it was a head game.
Right.
And Saban comes out a little bit before his daughter and says all the most respectful things ever. And then his daughter comes out afterwards to say disrespectful things. It's a play.
Which means that they probably were having that conversation behind closed doors.
Oh, yeah, for sure, bro. And remember what I was saying about what Dabo was saying? It's
Right.
the same play. It's the exact same play. Like, they're going to play this up on all kinds of levels to try to distract.
Ohio State does not deserve to be on the same field with us.
And they're going to try to distract us from or excuse me, not us, but the players. They're going to try to distract the players. This is all a distraction, bro.
You can say us.
I mean, but I didn't mean us in terms of the fans. They're trying to distract the players.
Right.
They don't care about us. They don't care that we're.
And it's a tough order, man. Like Ohio State has to, like Trey Sermon, man. We need one more out of you, baby. Trey, we need one more game out of you.
Play his ass off in this game, and Alabama is great against the run. Alabama's a great team. They deserve to be the number one team, and I've never, been outside of that. Actually, this Alabama team might be better than most Alabama teams I've seen in terms of the entire team.
Talent from front to bottom.
Just the top to bottom team. Yeah,
most definitely.
Like they've had better talent at certain spots, but the team. This might be one of the best Alabama teams I've seen.
The scary thing is now they're finally recruiting. It took them only 60 years to do it, but they're recruiting quarterbacks that can throw now.
Listen.
I would say probably the best pure passer was probably Tua. And
I agree with that.
Mac Jones, what's his name? Mac Jones.
Well, Mac is good though.
Yeah,
slouch. Look at the wide receivers and then running back. I'd be out there.
Yeah, now wide receiver wise, god dang.
I mean,
memo to Sean Wade.
Better than AJ.
Memo to Sean Wade. I need you to stop eating them flaming hot Cheetos and Funyuns. Whatever you're doing pregame. And I
No,
need you to get focused.
the problem with Sean Wade is, and I've said this, and I've seen other people say it after I said this. I don't think Sean Wade is that good. I
No,
just
he's
don't
not.
think he's that good. I think he's overrated. I think that if you're going to bail, and that's what Northwestern was doing, that's what Clemson was doing. They just they knew he was going to bail, so we're just going to play underneath because he ain't going to play us up tight. So if your coverages are that simple, that's on you. That ain't on the other teams. You're too easy to predict.
Yeah, I
That
don't
means
need
you're
him
not that
anywhere
good.
near Devontae Smith Monday night. I
But
don't
you know
want him
what else?
near that
I
kid.
don't want to see him. He got to be on the other side of the field. And I think what made him better was that we had guys that could pressure the ball. We had stars and studs
Right.
at linebacker. We had stars and studs at the defensive back.
It's Tyreek Smith and Cooper.
And stuff like that.
We need you guys to
more
step
pressure.
up again,
This
man.
ain't the same team. This ain't the same team.
It's going to take a full team effort to beat Alabama. This is a tough one. What's the spread? Like 9.5?
Hold on.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
I can check it.
Let's see here. It's Alabama by 8.
I was getting ready to say
That means they're not getting any money.
Okay,
there's no money coming in on Ohio State at all. No money is coming in on Ohio State. So
I find the total is very high. The over-under.
The over-under?
75. That's very high.
It's
because Alabama's secondary has
over
been
under
successful.
75.
Yeah, now there's one weak link to Alabama. It is their secondary.
That's a lot of goddamn points, bro.
It is.
75?
That is a big number for an over.
God dang.
It is.
For a national championship game?
I don't bet anymore. But
you figure the Clemson game was how many points? That was 75.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. Let me go back.
Yes, it was.
Let me take a look. Let me take a look. It was
70. No, I'm talking about the final score was over 75 points.
But that damn line going in was 66 and a half, though, bro.
No, what I'm saying is that doesn't make the 75 being crazy.
I know you know. It still is goddamn crazy.
It is high.
Are you listening to me, bro?
I'm listening to you, but Ohio. Look, you know what I'm saying is Ohio State's defense is bad.
I know you get it. I know what you're saying, but damn, they ain't even. They're telling me that
they can't stop
very
nobody.
defensive teams. These two very defensive teams, supposedly, because Alabama has a really good defense. So they're either saying that Alabama's gonna blow these dudes out, or that it's gonna be a shootout.
Well, what they're saying is both teams have a bad secondary.
I don't think Alabama's secondary is that bad because matter of fact,
because somebody was lighting them up early in the season, man. Mississippi put up points on them.
They had a bad game.
They had a bad game.
No, I mean, it means that they're not. That's the weakest part of their team, though, is their secondary.
Well, their secondary got I think Patrick Surtain may be a top 10 pick.
He is.
You're not throwing the ball over there.
Is that kid a junior?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is it for him.
His daddy played with the Dolphins and like the Chiefs.
Yeah, I remember. Listen, that's all I was like, Patrick Surtain. That's but I never looked it up or anything like that.
Yeah, that's his son. Yeah, but and the son is far better than his father. His father probably
if anybody has
college career, but he was just decent.
If you guys have internet access right now, look up Alabama's game log and look up how many points the defense was giving up in some of these games.
Yeah, they gave us some points early.
That's not what I'm saying, though, Sean.
And they were giving up yards too.
The defense ain't bad. Their defense isn't bad.
It's not, but the secondary is the weakest part of their team. Same thing with Ohio State. Our secondary stinks.
They got to look out for in this game is that they're playing against a team that has legitimate NFL players on it. They got Alabama proper just by rough count. this team probably got 6 to 10 guys who are NFL players. They haven't played anybody. They may play. They
Well,
may play.
that's always the case when you play
No, no,
Alabama. The same case we
no.
played
Right,
them in
right.
2015. It was the same
No,
thing.
right. But what I'm saying is, in the short, because Ohio State's played a shortened season. Okay, they haven't played anybody with this type of talent. Indiana they may have 3 or 4 players, NFL players.
And hell, they
Ala-
probably got more players that's gonna play next year.
Right. I'm just saying, but this Alabama team here,
Yeah.
they got 6 to 8 players who are NFL players. That's one of the guys that play. They probably got more. We just
Get
don't
ready
really
to
know.
play next year. Like B starters probably
So-
next year.
Right. So what I'm saying is that Ohio State hasn't seen this type of talent against them this year. That doesn't mean they're gonna be overwhelmed, but it's certain things you can't do because you got guys who can tackle, who can cover in space. So you really gonna have to execute. It's a different ball game. Now everything went right against Clemson. Everything went right, but the coverage is gonna be tighter. The holes are gonna be smaller. How do you execute, right? And we haven't
Right.
seen we haven't seen Ryan Day in a real press must win press situation when everything is on the line. We didn't seen save it. Now, how many coaches will pull Jalen Hurts and pull in Tua at halftime?
It ain't many.
Ain't many, not
Right.
many. So so for me to
And
look
I'm
at
gonna tell
Ohio,
you what, they don't make a lot of mistakes either.
right?
Like
You got
in
to beat
terms
them. They're not gonna beat
of
themselves.
turnovers, in terms of penalties, they don't make a lot of mistakes. So
So
again,
what I
you're gonna have to look for if you're Ohio State, you're gonna have to look for a lot of perfect type of situations and play through even when it doesn't happen that way.
I think the key to the game for Ohio State is special teams.
Well, special teams always, comes into play in a game like this.
I
You
think
know,
they can,
because field position is going to be important.
you can
You
get
know,
you can get a return, right? But I think
right.
special teams has an outsized importance here for Ohio State because they have a lot of talent, but they are not the most talented team here, especially in the key positions. They're not.
That was
So
probably the case against Clemson too.
right, but that's a
This team,
different game.
Clemson, this team was gonna beat the brakes off Clemson too.
I'm telling you, the talent on Alabama right now, the talent on Alabama, they could compete with a bad NFL team. They may not
Now,
beat
see,
them.
now you're going too far.
No. I'm saying a bad team.
You're still going too far.
I think they can compete with the Jets.
No, they can't. Those are grown men. No, they cannot compete with the New York Jets. As bad as the Jets are, Alabama could not compete with the New York Jets. I'm sorry. The New York Jets would beat Alabama like 35 to 10. I'll give you that. I'll give you Alabama could get 10 points on
I'm
it.
not gonna say they would, but they should.
The reason why I say like the Jets is because you look at the Jets of Jacksonville, they not coached well. Alabama,
But those are grown ass men over there. There ain't no way in the
and that
world
makes
that
it even worse.
Alabama's gonna beat Jacksonville or Alabama. Now stop.
Now listen, I don't disagree with what you're saying, Sean, but I think there is something to what Corey is saying because when you well coach, you're disciplined to where you're supposed to be.
It's hard. You have to.
I'm sorry. They would just get out physical.
It could be a tougher game. However, I do agree with that. I don't disagree with what you're saying.
And the other thing is, it just piggybacks on my special teams with Ohio State is that Alabama does not want to get into a track meet with Ohio State.
Hell no, they don't want to get
because Alabama has not seen, they ain't seen a team that's fast.
Well, fast like them.
That can fast, it can hurt you. They haven't seen that this year. So that's the one key is that if they get out in space, look out.
Well, really, and the keys to Ohio State winning the same thing with the Browns. Like you got to play a clean game. You could not turn the ball over because that'll kill you because you're giving an excellent team more opportunities to score on you. So you don't want to do that.
You know what you're saying, and that is, if you say that a team has to watch out for turnovers and play a clean game, you're already acknowledging that team is not good enough they can't recover from mistakes in order to win.
Yeah, because you don't give a team of that caliber multiple opportunities
Listen,
to jump on you.
You don't want to give up no damn turnovers because even if a team is worse than you,
No, but some teams you can overcome that because they're that bad. Like
Right.
like Ohio State. Like how many times have Ohio State played a team like let's say when Indiana was bad back in the day, right? Ohio State they may have turned the ball over a couple of times, but Indiana wasn't gonna do nothing with it.
Right.
You know
can
what I'm
win-
saying?
but you don't want to have turnovers. Any team, every
No, you
single
don't.
volunteer team on the planet knows you don't want to turn the ball over to give nobody.
But what I'm saying is you just can't have
No, I'm not.
you can't have any.
I'm
Right.
actually supporting what you're saying. Like
all turnovers aren't equal. You can't have reckless turnovers. If you got a turnover and they like, you remember the Super Bowl with the James Harrison play?
yeah,
You're talking about somebody against Arizona?
Yeah, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But he made a play. Now you're gonna have turnovers because somebody's gonna make a play. Like you can't give turnovers. You can't just like what Trevor Lawrence did in another game. You can't just sit the ball on the ground. You can't do that. But that's what I'm saying. A good team can overcome turnovers, bad plays, right? But you can't help the other team, and that's why I think Ohio State they got
and here's the reason why. Here's the reason why I say that, because a team like Alabama is already going to be hard to stop anyway. Defensively, it's going to be hard to stop them guys.
right.
So when you give them extra possessions like that, and you're not taking advantage of your possessions, like Ohio State, you can't have too many empty possessions because Alabama they're going to put up some points, and that's
Right.
why I say with teams like that have superior talent, just don't do them no favors.
Right now, and then
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and think about this too with Alabama. They got enough offensive firepower. They never feel they out the game.
Right.
They never feel they out the game. So that team that tells me that if they turn
it was all the way out the game against Georgia, and all of a sudden they won.
right. Let's just say
Right.
the game is tight, right? In the first quarter, it's like 7-3 or maybe 10-7 Ohio State, right? It could even be 17-7 Ohio State, right? They're not going to feel like they're out the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
And you gotta get pressure.
Yeah.
You gotta get pressure on Mac Jones. You gotta disrupt the time of that offense.
you do.
Too. You know what I'm saying? They gotta figure out some way. Like I said, Tyreek Smith, Cooper, the linebacking core. You gotta find some way to get some pressure on that guy. And you gotta keep Justin Fields clean. I don't think Justin Fields is coming in 100% healthy. So
But I think
let's
they
try to
have
keep him clean.
to spread them out, and the Ohio State has to maximize the speed of the game on offense,
Right.
and particularly on special teams where you can flip field position. It's maybe you can run the punt back, but Alabama is not going to feel like they're going to be out the game. And psychologically, you go into a game and you know you can score. You go into a game and psychologically, my defense can make a play, right? I can get me a 3, and now your preparation. Because a lot of these games are lost before you even get on the plane, right? So now you think if you know these things about your team, your preparation should be better, right? Your
Right.
game should be better because then you factor in the coach who has been there, right? So now, I think what Ohio State really has to do is that they really got to tune out the noise, right? It's probably good that it's COVID because nobody's not supposed to go anywhere, right?
Supposedly.
So
Allegedly.
right? And we know how they do it, but so that's what I think Ohio State, if they can make it a game where it's off to the races, they can give Alabama some fits because that speed
I don't know about that, man, because Ohio State, we're fast, but Alabama's fast as hell.
Right, but remember,
Alabama's always fast. They were fast the year we beat the hell out of them.
And that's when we just controlled the game with Zeke, and then Cardell made some hellified plays, hellified throws in the game.
Right. I mean, Alabama's always going to be fast. So playing against them and expecting them not to be fast,
no.
you already being short-sighted, bro.
No, I'm saying I don't think Alabama is used to seeing a fast team this year.
No, I agree with what you're saying. I'm like kind of talking to Sean at this point. When you said that, I agree 1,000%. I think that they've had a kind of a short season too.
Right,
They being Alabama, so they haven't seen. Because I don't think that Auburn was, the Auburn teams we've seen in the past where
What
they've
was
had.
their toughest games this year? I know Mississippi gave them a hard time.
the Mississippi
Um,
game was a tough game, but I think what you have to remember, Alabama's been number one all year.
Yeah, and they
So,
just haven't seen or haven't had the issues, and nobody has because the season has been so short.
but what they
So
have had is that when you're the number one team from the beginning of the season, everybody wants to take you down. You're
and
gonna
if
get
and if
everybody.
anybody has had that adversity, you're correct.
You're
Alabama.
gonna get
and that's exactly what's going to happen Monday night. We're going to take them down.
So, but here's the thing. In terms of how,
Are you laughing? And see, you there.
well,
There
listen,
you go laughing. I'm dead serious. Screw Alabama.
I think that Ohio State has a legitimate chance here.
they do have a chance.
And I'm not just saying that as an Ohio State fan. I'm saying that because I think that we have a legitimate shot at this.
Well, let's
But
go
they
ahead.
have to do things a certain kind of way. And to me, if I can go into my keys,
Sure.
it's
You
going to
got
sound
30
very
seconds.
similar. Look, it's going to sound very similar. We got to control the game. To me, the best way to control the game is to run the goddamn football. Run the football.
You know
Trey
what,
Sermon,
Ryan? Me and you, we're slowly turning into Woody Hayes with 3 yards in the cloud of dust. We
I'm
don't
not
want to see no
listen,
passing.
but I'm
It
not
just-
talking about the. I'm not talking about the 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Here's what I understand. With a team like Alabama and Ohio State does have some deficiencies. Most of their deficiencies are on defense. You don't want to get into a track. Just our defense played great against Clemson. Probably one of the best games I saw them play. I didn't think. Do you remember how we went through our keys to that game last week and the things that we talked about during that game last week? And it didn't seem like I had a whole bunch of faith in how they were going to perform.
Yeah, you
There
did.
was a reason, because they hadn't performed that way. But one of the things that I saw against Northwestern and one of the things that I've seen against Clemson is running the football keeps that team off the field. It's, again, football is simple. It's not rocket science.
Right.
Not all the time. Not saying that this is going to win us the game. It'll keep us in the game. Because I think if that keeps us in the game, Justin Fields is good enough to win the game for us. Now, that's the difference between what I might say against or with the Browns versus what I'm saying with Ohio State. I think, especially with Chris Olave on the field, we have enough to stretch those guys out and keep them wide open, especially early on. And if we got enough to keep them wide open, that opens up the running game. Because they're going to have to cover Chris Olave. They're going to have to cover Garrett Wilson. So now you got to stay out there, and we start running well. Guess what? Now you're starting to get that one-on-one coverage that you really want. Start going downfield like you want to. And we're going to have to score. Because Alabama can score. So we're going to have to score too. And we're going to have to put some pressure on those guys. So to me, those are the two big things. The defense is going to have to make a stop at some point. Like I said, they needed to do against Clemson. And I didn't really believe they were going to do it. And we actually pulled it out. It's the same exact theory this week. Run the ball, trust, allow Justin Fields to get into a certain level of rhythm. God forbid he gets some one-on-ones that he likes. He's got a big enough arm. We can pull this thing off. The question is, will we pull this thing off? That's all.
Right. Okay. All right. So what's your prediction? We'll start with Corey. What's your prediction for the national championship game? The Ohio State Buckeyes
Hey
versus
man, wait, before Corey go, man, don't disrespect my squad, man.
No, I'm back, man.
Don't disrespect my squad. Go ahead, man. Pick who you think gonna win. But I'll let you know my car is fast and I can get to Austin in any short period of time.
Let's see. Prediction for Ohio State and Alabama. Drum roll. I'm gonna go with Alabama in a win. It's not gonna be a blowout, but I would say Alabama's gonna win by say about 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Okay. So they got 8.5. So that's all right. All right. All right.
I might end up on bad beats with that, but I just don't like that 8-point spread.
8 is a lot. I
I
mean,
definitely
8
don't
is
like
a lot.
I like the under in that game.
And damn sure 75 is a lot. Gee whiz. I think that's just a high start. Geez.
Well, I think it got bit. I think that 75 is because it probably naturally should be about 69, maybe 70, but they
I
probably
think
had
so.
to push it up because people were betting on Alabama, figuring, oh, they're just gonna be a walk in the park, so it got pushed up. But that spread really should, I would say, realistically, it should be about 60. I wouldn't say 69. I would say about 64, 65.
I was thinking
Right.
65 personally, which is why I said it was high. I know what happened in
Oh, it is high.
65 to me seems fair, but
I just don't think
who
Ohio
knows?
State, I just don't think Ohio State can score enough in this game.
Fair
And
enough.
honestly, that could be a situation. I mean, I think they can. I think they can if they do certain things, correctly. But I understand why people would look at this game and say that, because I think Alabama can score whenever they want to. The
Right.
problem is I do believe that Ohio State can score whenever they want to. It's a matter of them figuring it out. What I saw in the Clemson game, these guys scored pretty much whenever they felt like it, just like they did early in the season against certain teams, which was like kind of weird because I wasn't, every time they played against, or the few times that they played against decent teams, it seemed like they had an issue. But what I've seen
I think
in that game, it let me know that they still have that explosiveness. Again, will that explosiveness show itself where it matters?
and I think Justin Fields I think he's a nice player. And is he a sophomore or junior?
He's a junior.
He's a junior.
He's a junior?
Yeah.
I don't think he should go pro. I don't think
No, I don't think so either. I think he should probably.
I don't think
stay.
that he's, but I believe he will go pro, and I think some of his holes in his game are going to show up in this game.
I think Justin Fields should go pro. I don't think there's anything else he can do on a collegiate level. He just doesn't need to go to somewhere like the Jets, where they look at him and say for something.
They're gonna probably take that shot.
I think he'd be the second quarterback taken, but I don't see the.
He may be the third or fourth because they like this kid from BYU too. And it's always a guy that's going to jump up from the combine, come from nowhere.
Oh yeah, the combine usually brings at least
the Josh Allens or the Christian Ponders,
because
somebody
that's see that you don't make that throw. Daniel Jones, he can't make this throw, but Daniel Jones just made this throw. He had a great combine, and then the next thing you know, Daniel Jones, second dude off the board.
Right.
Well, I think that was in Daniel Jones' case. I think he went to Duke, and it was coached by Cutcliffe. Cutcliffe is close to.
He's close to what now?
He's close to the Manning family.
He's close.
Oh, okay. Yes, right.
Yeah, I think he even coached I think he coached Peyton Manning in college.
Yeah, there's supposed to be another Manning coming up soon too.
Yeah.
Their older brother's kid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Web Durant. So Ron, so what's your
Yeah, let's see.
prediction?
I'm gonna probably go Ohio State winning this game in the squeaker. I'm saying 34-33.
All right.
34.
And
You know that's the over the 75, don't you?
Shut up. I knew you was gonna say that. I knew you was gonna say
Actually, it's not. 34, 33. It's pretty close.
no,
It's
that's
close.
60,
It's close.
67.
It's
But
close.
I'm going with Ohio State. I'm being a pure homer. We're in a
Surprise.
national championship game. Ain't no turning back now, baby. Ain't no turning back now. Bring on the Crimson Tide. Bring on all those fans, the arrogant fans they got down there. And I'm ready.
They do got some American fans. You know
They
that
do,
too.
man.
They
They,
do.
they,
I know you know that firsthand.
right.
Well,
Oh
that's-
man, I would be. For those of you that don't know, I went to school in Alabama, so I was down there for about 7 years. And when it came time for the Alabama Auburn game, it was like the Super Bowl. You had to pick a side, and they would just walk up to you on the street like, "Who you for? Alabama, Auburn?" And I'm like, "I'm an Ohio State fan." And they look at me and call me a Yankee and keep it moving.
Yeah, they was ready to lynch your ass down.
They no, because really they don't think the Big Ten
They
is
don't?
anywhere near the standard of the SEC, which is why when we had this talk before about doing bowl season, why I would root for Big Ten schools, especially when they play the SEC schools, just as a matter of
But
conference
that
pride.
makes sense though. That makes sense. Now,
I don't
for
believe
me, I just
That's why
don't
we
do
lost
that.
to
I don't.
Alabama in the Citrus Bowl last year. Your heart.
What'd you say?
Corey,
What'd you say,
say
Corey?
that
That's
again,
why
bro.
we lost to Alabama in the Citrus Bowl because you was rooting for us and your heart wasn't in it. We don't want you. No,
Listen,
I don't root for Ohio State. Period.
I don't root for anybody in my conference in terms of college football or anybody in my division in the pros.
Now in
Unless
pro
it's gonna-
football is
unless
different.
it's gonna
Ain't no
benefit
conference
my
pride
squad.
in pro football.
If it's gonna benefit my squad, maybe. But I'm not rooting for that team. I'm just hoping that you lose a little bit. But I'm not rooting. And I damn
Yeah,
sure
when it comes
squad in
when
there.
when it comes to pro football, I don't
I'm
root
not
for teams in my division, but in
nobody who
college,
my team. I'm not rooting for Wisconsin to beat Coastal Carolina. I couldn't care less. Who cares?
what about if they was playing Alabama or Auburn?
I
or
don't
somebody
give a
like that?
damn
I don't
who
care.
they beat or who they don't beat. I don't care.
I want to
I
see.
hate
Not
the
Ohio
SEC.
State. I'm rooting for Ohio State. I'm gonna tell you this right now. There's never been a day on the planet Earth that I've rooted for Michigan to do nothing other than lose.
We
That's
don't
it.
want you. We don't want
That's
you.
it. And
Look,
listen,
I
you should. I don't.
It's like-
I'm
like-
not gonna do it. I can't do it.
Guess who I root
I
for?
just personally because I was subjected to that nonsense for all them years.
And I
I
get
hate
it.
the damn SEC.
Look,
I can't
the
stand.
fact that you brought up what you just brought up, that's something new. You didn't tell me that before. So I get it. Now that might make me feel a little bit differently, but I'm not rooting for freaking Minnesota. I don't care if Illinois lose every game of the goddamn year. Who cares?
Now,
Oh,
if
the ACC is better.
That's beneficial to Michigan. Yeah, that's different. That ain't. I'm protecting my interests. But if I don't have a dog in the hunt, nah, I'm just this. I'm a.
And that's it.
And to
I don't have a dog in the
clarify,
hunt. I
and
agree.
to
with you.
clarify,
I don't
it's
have a dog in
only doing. It's only during bowl season. During the regular season,
Yeah,
if they
I
play
don't
the SEC
care.
school, I don't root for them.
I
By the
don't
way,
care what it is.
What's the prediction on the Browns game? The Browns and Steelers.
Well, hold on. Let me go to give me my score
Oh, yeah.
on Alabama game. So I'm going Ohio State. I'm going 45-42.
God dang. Oh, you okay? I see you. I see you, money line.
Yeah, 45-42
I see you, money line.
in the shootout. So as far as the Browns game, what we're going to do now, we do have to do our playoff picks for
We
this
doing
week.
playoff picks?
Yeah,
You ain't tell me that, or did I know
yes, I
that?
did.
I forgot.
You just too damn drunk to remember when we talked about that the last time.
And listen, I wasn't drunk, and that's the bad part because I've been sick. I ain't been that damn drunk.
No, you was drunk. You was drunk Sunday.
I've been trying not to drink so much because I've been sick, trying to get better. I'm trying to get all the way better. Hold on.
Because I'm sure this show we probably been going about 2.5, almost 3 damn
Oh,
hours.
we already in the mix, bro. Forget that. We
Yeah.
in the mix now. So
Or we can take over.
let's
We
see.
can take over for Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN.
And that show was terrible.
I know.
It has the potential to not be though. Like I don't know what to do with them.
You know what it is? It's too many shows now. So everybody just talks about, everybody has the same storyline. Whatever the main story is of the day is, they just rehash that shit all day between the
That's
shows.
what-
After a while, it's like, okay, how many more takes can somebody have about, whatever is going on that day? That's the problem.
So tell me this: how many games we doing? We doing the whole
Yeah,
playoffs?
so there should be a total of what, 12?
So there's 6
No,
games.
6. It's a total of 6.
Yes.
There's
Yeah,
6 games.
Yeah,
We
we're
doing
doing all
all
6.
6? Or we
Doing all
doing-
6. Let's go.
All right, bet. All right, so let's start with Indianapolis and the Buffalo Bills playing on Saturday at 105.
And that's in Buffalo. And I don't appreciate you giving Buffalo a shout out earlier today.
I ain't
Screw
giving Buffalo
Buffalo.
no shout out. All I said
Yes,
was
you
that
did.
Buffalo and the Browns haven't been in the playoffs at the same time. It's 1989.
Yeah, I
Damn,
saw that.
Who cares about the Buffalo's been the same
it's a
time?
long
Screw them.
time. It's a long time, dog. That was even longer than the 18 years.
Okay, I'm picking.
Buffalo is a possible adversary, so screw them.
Let's get your life together, man, and pick the damn.
But I'm
game.
picking Buffalo this game.
Oh, wow, they're going to be a possible adversary. Shut up.
They are going to be possible, but they going to beat Indianapolis.
Okay.
That's why they're going to be a possible adversary, because they're going to win this week.
So,
Listen,
hey, you write down my.
Screw Indianapolis too. I'm back. We're in the playoffs now, baby. I'm back to hating everybody.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm picking Wing City over Nap City.
okay.
Buffalo wings suck, by the
Shout
way.
out-
I hate
shout
buffalo
out-
sauce.
Sean,
Screw
you
them.
pick Buffalo,
Yep.
and Corey picked Buffalo. Corey, if you ever want to sit in, man, and deal with this dude for an hour and a half or some of your life, especially like if I get sick of some shit, man, you can
I'll
come
fill
do
in
it
for
because this dude be driving me nuts.
I'll fill in. We got- let's see. Who's the second game? Is that the Seattle?
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo too on that one.
I figured that. So yeah,
The next game on Saturday, yeah, it is Seattle, and it's the Rams at Seattle
Rams at Seattle.
at 4:40.
Well,
Out in,
the Rams have a quarterback starting that I never heard of before. Maybe it's iffy whether or not Goff is starting, and even if Goff is starting, he stinks. So I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks and my boy Russell Wilson.
I'm going with Dangerous.
Dangerous Wilson.
I'm gonna go with Seattle as well. Their defense is starting to play really, really well. And I just think
They got to. They couldn't play no damn worse than they were playing earlier.
I mean, listen,
They can't go anywhere but up.
listen. Earlier this year, they was as bad as the goddamn Browns, man. But
Worse.
they've turned it around somehow, and they've started really playing some lockdown D. So I'm going with the Seahawks as well.
I would tell you this: if Jared Goff was healthy, I would have picked the Rams.
I still don't know. Like
I don't trust that dude.
The reason why I would have picked the Rams if he hadn't suffered that thumb injury, I would have picked the Rams in this game. And the reason why is because they're familiar with the Rams. I mean, with Seattle, there's no crowd, so it's going to be easier to play in Seattle.
It's that no
Right.
crowd thing that still bothers me or scares me. Like I still ain't sure.
I don't know the weather. I didn't bother to check the weather in Seattle this weekend, but if Jared Goff was healthy, I would have picked the Rams because I don't understand how Seattle, but the Rams, how they lose games.
Inconsistent play from the quarterback. And Sean McVay is too big for his britches sometimes and makes some questionable calls. Now, he doesn't get called out on
He
it.
don't have the running game that he used to have.
Well,
He basically got rid of his running game, getting rid of Gurley, And
Well,
while they do decently at certain points, they don't have a consistent run game. So it's
well,
all on golf almost. And
they
the
had
deep,
to, they had to move off of Gurley because he just couldn't do it anymore. Once he left the Rams, when's the last time you heard Gurley say do anything?
no,
That's true.
listen, I'm not necessarily disagreeing, but if you got him on your squad, and I don't know what his
He
money,
couldn't do it anymore.
and I know it was about money at a certain point because now you're moving into a new stadium, blah blah
And they
blah.
gave him a lot of money. They did give him that huge
It was a lot
contract.
of money. It was a lot of
All
money.
right.
So that was a money move. That's all.
It was a
What's the
money
next game? Tampa
move.
and
The next game is Tampa and the Washington football team.
We know who
um
That's on Saturday night. So we've got 3 games.
Mike Evans may not play. Mike Evans twisted his knee pretty
Yeah,
badly.
I saw that. That was kind of weird.
But you know, AB can slide in. They still got AB. They still got Chris Godwin. They got Fournette, Ronald Jones. They got some weapons.
they still got
The
what's
football
his name?
team has a good defense. They don't have enough offense for me, so I'm going
They
Tampa.
can't score.
Yeah, they can't score.
Tampa Bay.
And memo to Tampa Bay.
Corey,
Please
you
at
said
some
Tampa
point.
Bay?
Please at some point bring back Bucko Bruce.
Corey, you said Tampa Bay?
That's right, Tampa Bay. Oh,
And I got Tampa Bay.
man, if they come out, man, Tampa Bay come out with them creamsicle uniforms.
That
Yeah,
would be
bring back Bucko Bruce. We want the old schools back.
All right. I went Washington football team last week or a week before last. There's one thing I've been noticing about them. When Alex Smith starts, they win. He's 4-1 as a starter. I'm gonna go with the Washington football team.
Well, that won't be the case this weekend, this Saturday night.
He's starting. He's supposed to be starting.
He is going to start, but we're talking about his winning streak with them is coming to an end. There's no way Washington is going into Tampa Bay and winning that damn football game.
It's in Washington.
This in Washington.
There's no way that Tampa Bay is going to lose the game going into Washington. I forgot Washington got that damn home. Damn stupid ass
because
rules
they
because they
wanted
wanted
to
to eventually get the home game with that raggy ass
Washington.
record. That's all right.
They're not going to have any.
I think that, I think that, the Bucks are a solid team and they playing really good right now. They hitting the groove, but their defense in Washington, I think they can put some heat on Tom. And if they could put some heat on Tom and get Alex Smith just to make enough plays, this team could win, man. So I'm gonna stretch out. I'm gonna stretch out. I ain't gonna be safe. I'm gonna stretch out.
All right, what's the next one?
For Washington on Saturday. High 42, low of 28, and that is a night game.
That's a Tom Brady special right there.
Yeah.
That's a Tom Brady special. Unless he got some heat on his ass.
And Seattle is going to be 46 for a high.
All right. Good weather.
We should have some decent first round games at least.
A balmy 46. All right. What's the next game, man?
The next game is Baltimore versus Tennessee down in Nashville. On Sunday, that's the first game, the 105 game.
Tennessee seems to have Baltimore's number. So I'm going with the Titans. It's going to be a close game, man. I think that may be one of the better games this weekend.
I think it's going to probably be the best game of the weekend, actually.
Yeah, that'll be a very physical game, but I'm going with the Tennessee Titans, formerly the Houston Oilers, in this one.
Corey?
Ratbirds.
All right.
I'm going to Titans.
I got to pick them.
I'm going to Titans, man. I think Titans are playing pretty good. I don't really think that these guys can stop Derrick Henry. I know they got a pretty good, run stopping defense, but if Derrick Henry can turn this thing on and Tannehill can just stay patient, I think they can beat this squad. The Ravens get to the playoffs and they turn into a one-dimensional team because most defenses put the entire game on their quarterback, and I'll be honest with you. I'd rather see that dude throw than run.
See, that's why I think that Tennessee is going to lose because they're going to keep because Baltimore is going to play keep away. They're going to keep them off the field.
And they can. They
And
But,
could.
but Tennessee can do the same thing.
But
and
I think that Tennessee understands who they actually are.
they
And
can't play from behind.
now I will give you that. They don't play from behind because now
Neither
you
one
put
of
it
them
over
can.
Tannehill, which is why they got to
Baltimore
get
can't play from behind either.
going. And Baltimore, if they get behind 14, 17 and nothing or 17-3, and then they got to try to put
I disagree. I mean, I think it's tough for Baltimore to play from behind, but if you look at the Baltimore Browns game on Monday night, that Baltimore never felt they were out of the game. And I
that's
think,
just our dumbass defense.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
right, but what I'm saying about Baltimore is I think Lamar Jackson has that thing. They never feel they're out of a game.
Well, if the game ain't close, they out of game.
Right, I'm saying
Well, Corey, it's a difference between when you're playing a real NFL defense against the preschoolers that the Browns have.
right.
So yeah, so when you're playing the Browns, of course you don't feel like you're out the game.
And also I think
Excuse me real quick. I'm gonna step away for 2 seconds. I gotta blow my nose. I don't want to do it on a damn show.
nah, but Baltimore also they got a real coach.
They do, and I think it's going to be a tough game, man. Like if Baltimore won't win the game, I won't be surprised. Like
Right.
it won't be an upset by any means at all.
That's why I picked Baltimore. I don't like them, but I just think that they got a good coach and I think they got a difference maker player at quarterback.
They do, and they're on a nice winning streak right now. They're peaking at the right time. So, they very well could win that game. But I think Tennessee, for whatever reason, always plays them tough. So I think that Tennessee will pull that out. Now, the next game is the Chicago Bears at the New Orleans Saints. I don't think this game is going to be close at all. The Bears really don't have any business being in the playoffs. But Mitch Trubisky has been playing well of late. He's been playing a lot better, but I think the Saints may have a little bit too much firepower. Now, the only thing, though, Alvin Kamara does have COVID. So I think he should be back, but I don't know as far as the protocols are concerned if he will be back for the game. So that's something that maybe we should look into.
No, Kamara's
so
he's going to be able to play, but
he'll be able to play. Okay.
Even without Kamara, I think Chicago they can't win this game.
I don't think so either.
I mean,
now stranger things have happened.
Would have to come back to life in order for Chicago to win this game.
Yeah, and really, man, these playoffs could be topsy-turvy because we thought 2020 was weird and 2021 came in as like, hold my beer. The stuff that's going on right now.
This is 2020 part 2. It's like a bad horror movie. I mean, we only 6 days in.
6 days in.
We 6 days in. We got people scaling the walls of the Capitol building.
Right.
It's not the worst.
Dr. Dre on his deathbed.
Dr. Dre trying to check out on us, man. I mean, like, what the hell is occurring in this entire world?
No, speaking of, so we were just talking about New Orleans and Chicago, and I picked New Orleans.
You picked.
I'm going to New Orleans too.
I have a hard time going against New Orleans when they're at home. So I think I'm gonna. I know it's no fans or whatever, but they just play better inside that dome somehow.
They have about 5,000 fans in New Orleans.
Oh, they're gonna have fans. Okay, well, shoot, that's enough. Look, that's 5,000 fans too many for the Bears. So yeah.
They can New Orleans can win this game without Kamara.
Yeah, I'm going with the Saints, man.
They'll just play Taysom Hill at running back if they have to.
Yeah, they could. No, they really could.
Listen, they probably could. I'm laughing because I'm like, you know what? I was almost about to be like, that's the dumbest thing I heard. Then I started laughing like, actually, Taysom could do the whole thing.
I mean,
hell, he did. He won, what was that, 3 weeks straight doing almost nothing?
Right. So I think he could spot Phil in. So
he can. All right.
All right.
So
And the only game that
they go to
matters,
game that actually matter right here.
you're
This is
right,
the
right.
game
None of these other games matter.
that can make or
Browns
break
at Steelers.
everything.
All right,
If y'all
I'm
want
going.
to have, listen, if you guys want to have a really good rest of January, February-ish, y'all better hope the Browns win this damn game. I'm talking to our 10 fans. Y'all better
Right.
hope, because it's gonna be ugly after this. If we, if the Browns ain't in it. So
You'll
here
hear
we
this-
go. The Cleveland Browns, the 11-5 Cleveland Browns going
Hold on,
down
hold
to
on, hold on.
Pittsburgh to play. Here we go on Sunday Night Football. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Give
Right,
me
for the whole world to see.
for the whole world to see.
No head coach.
And
It's too bad. I wish the game really was in Cleveland.
if
Yeah.
the game was in Cleveland, it could be crazy. It would be crazy if it were in Cleveland. I thought, and for a couple of weeks, I thought whoever we played, it was going to be us hosting because we were right there in the spot to do it. But it is what it is. So here we go, fellas. Browns versus Steelers Sunday Night Football. Who you got, Sean?
I'm going Browns in a very close game, 28-24. And it's going to come down to something late. A late field goal. Well, if it was a late field goal, we win by 3. But you know what I'm saying. It's coming down to some type of shenanigans late in the game, like it always does with us. And something weird always happens during the Browns-Steelers game. So, but I'm going Browns and a shocker, 28-24.
Mr. Hill.
This is actually the toughest game to pick.
Think so.
His roster much better than I like Pittsburgh's. I'm always partial to the team with the better quarterback. That being said, I'm actually going to pick Cleveland.
Oh. Finally coming home.
No,
Look, I knew you. Look, I knew Sean wasn't just gonna let you have a moment.
I just think that this is really why I'm picking Cleveland, because I think Pittsburgh is done.
Okay.
I think they're on a decline. I think late in the season they were, they were exposed. I just think they're done.
I hope you're right, man, because it's time for a change of the guard.
Let's say I don't think Pittsburgh's going to win, but let's say they do, right? They're going to get shellacked in round 2. They can't. Pittsburgh. They can't. They're not. I mean, I don't think they could beat Kansas City. They struggle.
What?
No, they can't. Buffalo handed them at lunch.
No, they can't.
They're going to struggle. I think Pittsburgh is on fumes.
Now, not that we can beat Kansas City either, but
Right. But I would rather
the expectations for the both teams are.
We can beat the Chiefs.
Well, I agree. I agree with.
I just think Pittsburgh is running. They're running on fumes. I don't think they got enough to get it on home.
All right, RP, who you got, my man?
Bro,
Well, I already know where you're going, but what's the score?
nah, I was gonna reveal like this bombshell statement, but let's be all the way honest. Corey just actually gave up what I was gonna say because I've been given a little bit of insight on some things. There's some folks very, very close to excuse me, not the silver and black, but to the black and gold that echo the sentiment that I was kind of having, and definitely the sentiment that Corey just spoke on. They don't believe that the Steelers are as great as most people think they are right now. Things are starting to fall apart. This ain't the typical Steelers squad. It just isn't. The Steelers have always run well, even when they didn't pass well. But this team is only averaging about 84 yards a game. I don't see them doing much more than that against the Browns. Defensively, they don't stop the run. The Steelers have been horrible against the pass and couldn't but the run, you were never running on this team. It's just the opposite. Things are kind of a little bit topsy-turvy. It's not necessarily the coach. I think some of the issues come from injuries and things of that nature. But this ain't the same Steelers. If
No,
the
it's
Browns do what the Browns should do, keeping those guys off balance, staying true to whatever the play calling suggests or whatever the game plan suggests, I think we win this game.
I just think the Browns are hungrier.
24. I see it. It's going to be close. I was thinking 28-26, but I think we might get a little bit more space. So I'm going to go 28-24. That's the same damn thing you just said, but I think 28-24 is a fair enough space for this game, or 27-23.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
I think
a
it's-
little bit of a gap, just enough for us to squeeze away and feel good about ourselves.
All right. Well, there you go, America.
Listen,
You have a
we can't
consensus.
put the game in Cody Parkey's hands.
No, give it to Chubb. Look, if we give the ball to Chubb, we don't have to worry about Cody Parkey or anybody else.
If we
Don't
give
worry
the
about-
ball to Nick Chubb, you see my man behind me? If we do this about 20 to 24 times a game, we're gonna be all right.
I got a couple other thoughts on the Browns too. When they signed Kareem Hunt, I didn't think he was a tough player. I was surprised.
He's tough.
Huh?
Very tough.
I didn't know that. I was surprised. I was like, yeah,
I knew
I
he
mean,
was
it's
tough.
like, man, look, dude, when you karate kicking females in a hotel hallway, you got to be somewhat tough. You know what I'm saying?
I knew he was tough. My thing was I wasn't sure because the Browns have a history, and Sean will attest to this. We have a history of getting guys that have certain levels of talent and not utilizing what they're good at.
And that's what we don't do with Hunt at all. We don't utilize him to the best of his abilities.
Like,
need to get him in space.
We had this guy who I loved to death that we didn't use correctly, Eric Metcalf. We didn't use Eric Metcalf to his full ability. Then he goes down to to Atlanta, makes the Pro Bowl 3 years straight.
Yeah, 120 catches.
Like, he could do all of that stuff for us.
Right.
He could have had we used him correctly. We just don't always use guys, to their best ability. So I thought when we signed Hunt, and I agree with Sean, maybe we don't use him because we don't run enough screen passes to me. Now he does run out into the flat a lot. He'll, kind of chip a guy and then run out into the flat. But Baker is already,
You know what I think it is?
Yeah.
downfield.
And this outside looking in. I don't think they trust him.
But why
no,
would they?
I
But
won't,
now
say
tell me
that.
this though. Now hold up. You
Trust
put that
him what?
out there.
Off the field or on the field?
I'm talking about. I think on the field. I don't think they trust.
And that's what I'm. So Corey, you put that out there. So I'm gonna ask you, why don't you think they trust him?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you look at the play calls and how they use him, I don't think they trust him in certain situations because he should be more involved in this. So that tells me.
I agree. He should be.
That
Yeah.
tells me-
Now, here's what Kareem Hunt does do. About 3 or 4 plays a game, he comes up with a huge first down to either keep the drive moving or at the end of the game to close it out. Now, he does do that.
Yes,
but
he does.
overall in the scheme, like on run play, we should do like a couple of more pitch outs, jet sweeps or something like that to get them on the edges.
So
But as
Corey,
far,
I'm sorry, Sean. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead, you got it.
But so Corey, your feeling about how they utilize Hunt, do you think it's more analytical, or do you think they just don't believe that he's that type of a football player?
I think it's probably the second. They don't believe he's that type of a football player, but I can't figure it out because the talent that he has, right, is something that tells me they just don't trust him for whatever reason. It may not be football involved. related, but they just don't.
I don't necessarily agree with that one. But look, fellas, my phone is down to about 5%.
Okay.
So
So what then? You just get off the damn show, and then me and
there
Corey,
is no show. Look, there is no show without me. Yeah,
But,
there is no show
all right,
without me.
well, my partner said ain't no show without him, so
ain't no show. But
I guess
And that
I'm
and two, and what I did was probably one of the most unprofessional things that you could possibly do is tell them that your phone is about to go dead.
I mean, damn, you just gave the whole play up right there.
It is.
No, that's all good. Because we
It is what it is. I just didn't want everything to go blank. You know what I'm saying?
No,
And then
we've probably been going for a good
at least 3 hours.
couple hours
It's
or so.
close to it.
But it's awesome. I always love and I always enjoy being able to just continue to talk football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, with people who understand it and who get it, and then I can get better insight from. So yeah, I give Corey grief, and Corey and I go back and forth about Michigan, Ohio State, stuff like that. If anybody has been on our page, especially on the Facebook page, me and Corey was going back and forth for a little bit, but it's
Corey is
it's
king
really
troll.
all fun. I have a great time doing that, and
it's-
so does Corey. So it was all good, but it's great to bring the dude in, and then you can even hear more insight because it's not like he doesn't know what he's doing, and that's one of the great things about Sean and I. We're not bringing guys in that just want to talk.
Right.
We're bringing in guys that can add to the show and make us better at what we do.
Exactly.
Corey has been that. So has Tamika. So has Mark Stover. So has Elton. These guys give us more stuff to go off of. So before Sean's phone dies, I just want to be able to put this out here. Thank you, Sean, for contacting Corey. Corey, thank you for coming in.
For the invite.
And we'll definitely have you back at
Awesome
some point.
having you in here. And I mean, come on, bro. You got carte blanche, bro. You come in whenever you want.
Well, I was gonna play this clip, and I forgot who did this imitation of Muhammad Ali.
Well, listen, don't
I love your
if you
show.
play the wrong clip, you're gonna kill that carte blanche.
That was Eddie Murphy, man. That was Eddie
I-
Murphy on
That was gonna play.
that's Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
Oh.
he was
He did. I like your show and I love your style.
I love
It's something I'm gonna be back in a while.
I won't be back for a while. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
That-
great show. We look forward to seeing the games and when we come back.
No,
on,
we definitely gonna check back in with you, homie, man. Thank you for giving us your time. Sean always gets mad at me when I say this, but thank you for allowing us to ruin your evening. That's we don't I know you don't have to give us your time like this. Your family might be like, I see pictures of your baby girl. You might be capable of spending time with baby girl right now, but you
His clone.
and that's awesome.
She told
And that's awesome that you spending that time with us. So I appreciate you, bro. For real.
She told me football wasn't important.
She told you. She told you what?
She told me that today.
You know what, man? My daughter understands at least to a certain spot. She always says, "Daddy, are you recording today?" Yep, I'm recording today. So she knows this to kind of. I'm gonna play the back. Football game is on. She still gets a little bit freaked out because the Browns do that to me. But she gets it. She gets it, and she'll get it as she gets a little bit older. So.
Pray for me.
I got you, homie. I got you.
One thing though, she does understand this about football.
Well,
that's an ugly ass hat. That's the ugliest Cowboys hat that you possibly could have gotten.
Again, okay.
You see how good Santa Claus is?
Actually, you got it. Listen, you got to raise your kids the way you want them to be raised up. And, we all grew up in the Christian church, but apparently you're part of Satanism now. Rooting for the damn Steelers. Rooting for the damn Cowboys.
Shoot, he told me I should be ashamed of myself because I was a Cowboy. He said, "Be ashamed of yourself and you honoring your family." man whose son is a Lions fan. And the other
But
one's a
listen, man, I don't want Sean's phone to
Look,
come out.
leave my uncle alone.
So y'all, listen, it was a
Yeah.
great show, man. I'm glad, Sean, again, you already know, bro. Thank you for allowing me to disrupt your evening. It was great for me.
It's
Again,
another great show, man. We had 2 great shows in a row.
again,
You know,
Corey,
special guests.
Corey added to that. As arrogant as Corey could be at times, bro, I don't know how great this show could have been without you.
Oh,
So I don't need to add. I don't need to add to that, but bro, I don't know how great this show could have been without you. So thank you.
And one more thing, man. I was thinking about this the other day, and I know I'm reverting back to my childhood again, but you two were the only guys that when you came over to the house, I would pull out the 2XL because you were the only 2 guys that
We could only-
understood it.
We was the only ones that could answer the question. We was the only ones that could answer the questions. And the
Exactly.
damn risk. Sean was the only person I knew who I was trying to look at and figure out world domination with.
I played Risk with Corey too. It was certain games.
That's
only
what
played
I
with
mean. I
y'all
know
two.
you did. I already know you did.
because you knew
I mean,
Simon-
I had never played Risk. And I remember the first time I played Risk with you, man, you killed me and you was not helpful. Like
Oh,
you
you
just
No.
and the rules
put-
of the game. That's your advantage.
yeah, look, he just pulled it out. He just pulled it out and was like, yeah, here's how you play. You lost.
Yeah, you-
Exactly.
See, you just lost Kazakhstan. So now that's mine.
well, remember, he just he treated you like
I was like,
like
damn.
Coach Chud. Don't tell you nothing. Hey, go out there, go get him.
He just, I mean,
Right.
man, he just sends you out there, dog. He just put me out there. But when I started learning how to win that joint, it was a different kind of game. It was totally different.
Right.
Well, we got to end this because otherwise Sean gonna get into Bud Carson talk.
He about to get the.
You know what? You know what? On that note, we are going to sign off. Check us out, 2 Guys in the Mic 216 Facebook,
All right.
2 Guys in the Mic 216 Instagram, our podcast, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast at 2 Guys in the
Easy
Mic.
Pup coming.
So just check us out. You know, we picked up 2 whole subscribers this week on YouTube. We're pumped about those 2 extra fans that we have.
I mean, we had,
You know what I'm
we had
saying? We
about
appreciate
22
any
we had
love.
about 22 views.
Yeah, exactly.
between
Man.
here
We're
and,
cooking with grease.
and last week. So, hey, listen,
Sashi Brown listener, he got some time.
we love you.
Who? What do you say?
Listen, we love. This is why we usually do a closing without guests in the room. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. We love y'all. Hey, all y'all stay safe. Much love to DC. Keep them guys together, man. And much love and peace to our first responders. Thank you.
All right.
Love y'all. Peace out.
Peace out. Thanks again, Corey. I appreciate it, man. And I'll holler at you guys later.
All right, later.